So, first of all, I want to just thank Jason for calling me. I'll tell you why I think. So tonight is Hashanah Rabbah. Tonight is, it's known Kabbalistically as, you know how we had Yom Kippur? Yom Kippur, you know we had Rosh Hashanah, right? Rosh Hashanah, we got our judgment, and whatever is going to happen this year was already decreed on Rosh Hashanah. Then it depends until Yom Kippur. Then it's pending until Yom Kippur. Yom Kippur gets sealed, like a soft seal, if you could say that. Thank you. And then comes Hashanah Rabbah, which is tonight. This is like the final verdict, is where it comes in. So tonight is a very, very, very holy night. In fact, you have many people that stay up all night to learn Torah. Not the plan tonight, don't worry about it. For you guys could leave whatever you guys want. But there are many people that stay up and learn the whole night. So I was asked by like maybe 2 people if I'm doing a whole nighter class, and I decided, you know what, maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. I said, you know what. I don't think it's going to happen this time because it's during the week. Most people work, so they have work the next day. I figured, you're going to get a very small crowd, if any, and people are going to start leaving out. I figured I'm going to learn. I was planning on learning myself in my sukkah, and that's when Jason called me. So while I was learning tonight, I was like, you know what? What am I thinking? Why we learn tonight? Because we try to rack up as much merit as we can. Because today's the final day. This is like the final judgment day. So then I was like, you know what? Well, if I'm learning by myself, okay, so I get a reward for me learning by myself. But if I'm able to learn with others, then we're getting all that more reward together. So I was like, you know what? And I felt bad. And I felt like maybe I should have gone and given a class tonight. And I was kind of, regretting my decision of what to do. And then I get a phone call, but someone by number I don't know, and I don't hear anything. And then he calls me again. Jason had, I guess, one of your friends' things, and then he was like, okay, we're here in class. Are you guys giving a class? And I'm like, I wasn't planning on it. And then my conversation with myself, which I tend to have, previously, I was like, wait. I'm like, no, I'm coming. And I was like, I'm coming. He's like, are you sure you don't want it? So that's why I'm here. So I have to thank you guys for bringing out here, because this is actually a big merit, a big schut to be here. So with that introduction, we're going to speak about whatever it is that you guys want. Because, this is all, as I left my house, I was like, okay, maybe, just as a backup. That's all that this is. These things, don't anything, we don't plan on following anything. You could ask me any single question that you have in your mind. Like I said before, you don't have to filter anything. You just ask it. I've dealt with the weirdest to the worst and everything in between. So if you guys are willing, anybody want to start off?
You want to start it?
You say it.
Okay. So, I have a curious question. So, we have a friend, I'm not going to say who. He has a Christian girlfriend, dating her for a while, but we can't say anything. Are we wrong for not saying anything? Or are we like, we're destined to?
But yeah, he didn't take it right.
Yeah.
She or he?
He doesn't care.
He's the Jew and she's a Christian.
And, he also mentions it that he's deeply in love with her and he loves her, but he doesn't. Yeah, but he's
at that point already.
Yeah, but
for marriage,
How old is he?
19.
Okay.
19. And also,
how long has he been dating?
Year and a half.
For a year and a half already. And he also, he says I wish he was Jewish. I don't want to lose. I want my kids to be Jewish as well, but I don't know what to do with myself. Like a dilemma in his head.
Okay, so let me just repeat the question for this. I'm going to repeat it very briefly, and then I have a lot of follow-up questions for you guys. So basically, it's a 19-year-old man who is dating a non-Jewish woman, not only non-Jewish, but also in the Christian faith. And the question is, as friends, what do you guys need to do? What are you guys obligated to do? What you guys should do? So now I have a few follow-up questions. First of all, I'm assuming, did he meet her in school?
Yeah.
Public school?
Yeah.
Do you guys want? Okay. So, and they're dating for a year and a half already.
Yeah.
And his family is not religious at all.
No.
What is his religious background? Any affiliation whatsoever?
What do you mean?
No, I'm talking about and besides, I'm not talking about was he always secular? Is his family only secular?
Oh, yeah.
His,
the holidays, like Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur.
That's what his family does.
Yeah, it's secular.
They're still...
Most of our families.
Right. And so he has very little understanding in Judaism.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So this is a very, 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 very difficult and big problem to be in. And I'll explain to you why is the difficult part. Number one, because you already said that he loves her. First of all, he's 19 years old, so he doesn't really know what love is. And that's not just him in general, just general 19-year-olds don't really understand what love is. He understands more what infatuation is. The problem with it is with dealing with love is you're trying to talk to him with intellectual. He is thinking with here, possibly something else also, but he's thinking definitely below the head. Down and below the belt is what he's dealing with his situation right now. So to go in there and tell him, hey, what you're doing is wrong. It's like a heroin addict. He's doing this, and you're like, wait, it's not so healthy for you. I'd be like, okay, and he's like, you might kill yourself. Okay. You really might. You might not wake up. Okay. He's like already there. It's like, you can't what are you gonna do? Pick the needle out? Yeah. So. I'll tell you what a group of Israelis did. And when you're dealing with Israelis, it's a different breed in its entirety, especially if Israeli soldiers. Any Gorski here from Israeli parents? No, okay.
We got friends though.
So there's a group of Israelis that over there you don't really have the Christian problem so much, but you have the Muslim problem. So there was one guy who was dating this Muslim girl, and he was there already, and he went and he was about to he already proposed. They were engaged. They were getting married. They had a wedding date and everything. And his friends were always against it. Be like, how do you do that? How do you do that to your family? How do you do that to your religion? How do you do that to your nationality, your heritage? And he's like, no, but I love her. I was like, I really care about her. She really cares about me. It's not about that anymore. So the guys were like, they saw they weren't dealing with this situation, and there was no getting through to him. So they said, you know what? Israelis, they're smart. Just look at Waze, right? Or any other Israeli product, which is about 10 million of them that we're dealing with. So he goes and he said, they're like, okay, we want to throw you a bachelor party. So he's like, guys, I really appreciate you coming around and seeing it from my point of view. Of course, I'll come with a bachelor party. I really want you to be involved with this. Really, she's a great girl. You get to see her, you get to know her. So they said, fine. They get him to the. They said you're meeting the bachelor party in one of the guy's apartments, and day before the wedding, literally the night before. This is whoever does bachelor party, let's get trashed the night before your wedding. So have the biggest hangover on the most important day of your life. That is a smart idea. Again, you're dealing with 19, 20, and 21-year-olds, so this is the way that they think. So the problem is when the 30-year-old and they're still doing that. So, anyways, they go and they get him to this to the room, and they start chugging beers and they're having a good time, and they're like, okay, now we have a surprise for you, and they want you. You're going to go into this room. And you're going to have a surprise. So he's like, oh, he's all excited. Secular people, what does he think the surprise is going to be? Right, popcorn in the back? I don't think so. So he goes in, and he goes into this room, and he sees food and water. He's like, oh, this is going to be great. And he turns around. They close the door, and he's excited. And then he hears a click on the other side. And then he hears another click. It's like Israel. You have 16 bolts and so all of a sudden you hear all the doors lock, and so he's waiting over there for I guess they don't want him to come out. Half hour goes by, hour goes by, and suddenly he's like, hey chevra, hey guys. He's like, what's the story? He says, what's going on? So they were like, they're still out there. Be like, oh yeah, we forgot to tell you, we're not letting you out. You're going to stay in here until the wedding is over. And he's like, come on, guys. He's like, you're joking, right? And then he's like, come on, you got to be joking. And then he looks for his cell phone, and he's like, where's my cell phone, guys? They took his cell phone, and one of the guys hugged him. They just put his hands in his pocket and took out his cell phone. The place had no windows, was locked. It was one of the, he's like, listen, you have enough food, water, and a bathroom in there to deal with you for the next 25 hours. He says, we'll come pick you up after the wedding. And he started banging on the door. I'm not saying guys should do this, but I'm saying he starts banging on the door. Not the worst idea, but I'm saying could have repercussions also. He starts banging on the door, and some other words come out of his mouth. He's like, I thought you guys were my friends. How did you do this to me? Non-stop, and they're like, bang from today until tomorrow. They blasted some music on the other side to down out all this thing, and they just left. And this guy was going, he went through all stages of emotions. First he was angry, then he was depressed, then he was crying, then he was angry again, and then, everything in between he was going through. And they kept him there for 25 hours. And just to be sure, they waited until the next day as well. They come to the next day, after the wedding, and they open the door. First of all, he makes a beeline. First of all, he like decks the first person that he sees, and he makes a beeline for the phone. And who does he call right away? His fiance slash almost wife slash who knows what's going to be type of a woman. So he picks up, she picks up the phone, and then she's like, she's like hello, and he's like, hey, it's me. And her mouth starts going off. She's like, I knew it. He says, you're a piece of dirt.
Oh, wow.
I am, making it a little bit kosher. She didn't say dirt. He says, you're a piece of dirt. I can't believe you did this to me. He says, I'm so, I can't, And then she said, and then the rest of the conversation is really like beep, 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 like a truck backing up. Beep, 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 just nonstop. And then after like 5 minutes, he's first of all, he's blown away by this potty mouth of this that's on this girl. And then he's like, but you don't understand, I got locked up. She's like, I don't care who locked you up. He says, I was so all my friends are all right. Never get involved with Jews, the smelly Jews, the stinky Jews. I can't believe I got sucked into it. Blank you, blank your kind, blank everything. I don't want to see you ever again in my life. And then he hangs up, and then she slams down the phone. I guess some Israelis are able to fluctuate from emotions from like 0 to 60 in all directions. He turns around to the guys who are all sitting over there, and with tears in his eyes, he's like, thank you. He's like, I could have been stuck with this for the rest of my life, or whatever, until death to our part, or until we decide not to be to our part. And I could have been like gone. And he's like, he was man enough to actually go and apologize and actually thank the guys that actually locked him up. Unfortunately, that is a happy ending, at least for the Jewish side. For the other side, probably also a happy ending. But that is one possibility that you guys can do. But generally speaking, this is it's a problematic scenario. And I'm gonna preempt these, my next my real answer with a few other bits of information. Being that you can't really speak to him on an intellectual level, it's very difficult to convince someone something that is emotionally attached to it. It's very difficult. And I'll give you the proof and point to this. Somebody who's, I'll give you an easy example. I recently gave a whole class against proving that Christianity is 100% false and fake and everything like that. So I got a lot of Christians that came back and watched it and were sending me comments, sending me emails, sending me messages, how I got it all wrong. You don't know anything about it. What was the words that they use? I don't have the divine spirit in me, and that's why I can't understand the New Testament. I'm like, you're right, because the only someone who's psychotic on divine spirit or any divine pill that you could possibly give him, special K, whatever it is that you're doing in the street drugs, then he'll be able to understand the New Testament. Because otherwise, if you read it from a logical standpoint, it makes no sense. There's so many mistakes in it. There's so many errors in it. If you're just step back for a second, you could see that this is a man-made book. All 27 of them, all whatever, how much ever, it's all nonsense. It's all rubbish. It's toilet paper. And however, at the same point in time, you go, it's even worse. I'll tell you why it's even worse, because there are people that take Jews out of the religion into the Christian religion, thinking that this is the right religion. I'm like, you're taking somebody who's taking vitamins, to be healthy and be like, I have some perks for you. It's going to be really good. You mix them with some Xanax. You dice them up, up the nose. It gets much better than anything else. And this is literally what somebody is healthy. You're taking them and you're giving them a drug that's contaminating the soul and it kills them spiritually. But you have all these people, and I give lists of proofs. I give proofs. I source everything that I say, and I give proof after proof after proof. And yet, what do people come back? They still. I have not gotten one source. I've not gotten one source that stated anything that I said was wrong. I might have said anything wrong. I had got over 200 messages back on this. Not one of them ever give me a source. But yet, now one of them decided to be like, you know what? He's right. It doesn't make any sense. Why can't they go and they man up or at least start thinking about maybe I'm in a situation that's wrong? Why can't they do that? Because they're emotionally invested. They're emotionally invested. You wanted to say something?
No, I'm just like, you was asking, I thought like, you're waiting for an answer or something.
Oh, you could always shoot out hand. Yeah, you could always do it. You could always
I think just, it's like, because they believing in like, doing things for so long and like
you get used to it. Yeah,
and they can't just say that all that time I was doing nothing. I just like
right. Which is that is very true in Judaism also. Why you have a lot of Jews that they get older on in religion in life. And they were secular. It's very hard for them to become observant and religious. Why? Because that means that everything that they've been living for was fake. And it's very hard for somebody who's like 50, 60, 70, 80 years old to come to his senses and be like, you know what, I was wrong. It's very difficult for someone to say, you know what, I was wrong. When you're young, that's when you're able to do it. Because you're like, okay, now I'm building out my life. Now I could be like, do I want to be like this or do I want to be like this? It's very easy for you to decide, okay, I want to do this or I want to do that. And from that, it's very simple to make the change. But afterwards, it's very difficult. And that's why the same reasons, because you get used to it. But these people also, besides the fact that they got used to it, they got to love, Jesus. They got to love, this guy who just forgives them for everything. It's like, it's like a guy who's like all cool and everything, and be like, hey, don't worry about anything. Just chill out. Yeah, you believe in me? Don't worry about it. I got you a stairway to heaven. That's it. You think that, and that's it. So it's very hard to stop believing in that. Additionally, they are thinking over here with their heart. They're thinking, this is what I believe. This, I'm so vested into it. This is me. Nothing goes up over here. And that's religion. When you're talking about love, when you're talking about relationships, you're talking about it on a whole nother level. You're talking about something in a whole, different thing. So I'll give you a list of things of what you can do and what you can try to do, and we'll see where it could lead to. Number one, probably the best thing that you can do is pray for him, because people don't realize the power of prayer. People have the ability, because in prayer you're able to get inside that person's heart, not through you, through God. So you're like, God, listen, I need your help, because we need God's help for everything. I got this buddy over here, he's losing everything. He says, please help us out over here. And you never know how, prayers go a long, long way. God hears the prayers, especially if you're able to actually shed some tears. I'm sitting with a bunch of guys, so yeah, whatever. Okay, but if you can, it's very, very strong and very, very powerful. That is the number one thing that you can do in this situation, at least from my perspective and my opinion. Number two is get him to talk to somebody. I will more than happy talk to him. I'll more than happy arrange for him to talk to other people. It's gonna be very difficult.
He's a whooped.
Yeah.
Whipped. Yeah. No.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
She's the man.
Mm-hmm.
Nah, I'm not even kidding.
We asked
Right.
him to come, but he said
He made an excuse. I swear.
work at this in the
For tonight, you mean?
No.
For
I
tonight.
swear to God, for tonight, he said he was going to the gym. He was doing something, and then
Right.
as soon as we got here, he's like, "Yo, I'm home."
So tell him to come right now. We'll keep it late. He's not gonna show up?
He's not gonna come.
And
not
I
that
doubt
type
he was
of
going to talk about that topic.
Yeah,
It's
he
like his sensitive topic. He doesn't like talking.
So I could talk to him privately if you want. If you're able to, and by the way, it's a very difficult, it's a very difficult concept to deal with. Even,
He's gonna get mad.
He's gonna get mad at us for sure.
Right.
Like we start talking about this.
I hope he says thank you after.
I'll tell you a few other things on. You know what? To be honest, I know I can't say a couple. I know a guy. This guy is Christian. He's dating a Jewish girl, and the funny thing is that he comes to my classes. So very interesting. So and he keeps on telling me like he's repent. It's like he's like very spiritual. He doesn't believe in Jesus, doesn't believe in all that stuff, but he believes in God, and his family is like a Christian background. And he tells me he's dating a Jewish girl. So I'm like, that is a very big problem. You cannot be, he's like, I asked him, are you planning to convert? And he's like, I would, and he was like, I would love to raise my kids Jewish. I'm like, first of all, your kids are going to be Jewish, because the woman is going to be Jewish. That's why this guy who's dating a non-Jew, his kids are not Jewish.
Yeah.
His kids,
He knows that.
he like,
And he says it sucks, but he said, like love for him is like higher than.
Yeah. So I told generally my method is I don't know if it's I don't have the time or the patience or to sugarcoat things, and I'm not in the business to make friends. That's not. I come representing the Torah, and the opinion that God says in the Torah is the opinion that I'm going to say, whether you like it or not. So I told him, I'm like, you're not allowed to be with her. It's a very big problem. And he's like, but I love her. I'm like, oh, yeah, so it's funny that you say that, because it's written in the Torah that you're not allowed to date the other religions unless it's love. And then God says, I understand. And he's like, really? I'm like, no, are you kidding me? I'm like, of course you're not allowed to be with her. Of course not. You want to be with her, you have to convert. But you can't just do a conversion to marry her. You have to convert, and you have to be 1,000% religious. She has to be 1,000%, because she's obviously not religious anymore. So even in this situation where he's going to be like, well, I'll convert her, which if he's whipped, then it's not, she's going to convert him at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, but even if that happens, it's most likely going to be a bad conversion. Unless he goes through like a really legit place. He's going to go some reform conversion means nothing. It means zero. You're 100% a non-Jew if you convert reform. Doesn't mean anything. Because Rabbi Ellen went and converted you, doesn't change anything. So the conversion, even when you're dealing with, well, I'll convert, she'll convert for me or things like that. The only way that it's going to work is if he and she are going to be 1,000% religious. Like more than everybody that you know type of religious. That's how it's going to work. And chances are, I don't know if that's going to work, that's going to happen or not. So the other thing, so we said number one is prayer. Number two is bring him to speak to somebody, because as friends, you guys have a very strong influence on him. You'll be surprised, because at your age, the number one thing is friends. Friendship is the number one thing.
Well, for him now.
Well, I'm talking about relationships and things like that. In general, at you guys' age group, friends is the biggest thing. And just think about it. How often do you guys hang out a week? Don't answer. For how many hours? 4 hours each. So that's 8 hours a week that you guys are spending together. That's more than anybody else that you guys do, unless you're dating somebody. Family, you don't spend 8 hours consecutively hanging out with them. You're just in the same vicinity with them. Right, but that's not because you're there and chatting with them. You get annoyed with them after 4 seconds of talking. You'll be like, oh, come on, And then you're like, you have a brother that's trying to, it's like, it just gets me on my nerves the way he breathes, And then you have a friend who's like just driving you crazy for 7 hours and wants to, borrow whatever it is. And you're like, talk to him. He's like, yo, I got to speak about his girl situation. And you're like, yeah, let's go. We'll go chill out. We'll go talk. We'll sit. We'll deal with this thing. 7 hours, okay. Family member, 4 seconds, you're done. So you have a very close relationship with friends. So friends have a very, very strong push on this. Whether you think so or not, it does affect a lot. This is why also, on a side note, that if you're able, let me say it this way, how you're going to be as you get older, very, very strongly depends on who your friends are right now. Because who your friends are is generally how you're going to stick together. And that, as you get older, you sort of date very similar girls. You hang out together. You have the same upbringing. So if you have even like one or two of the group that becomes religious, it's a very strong likelihood that everyone's going to pull in. I deal with the older Gorski group, and that's how it started. The older Gorski group, you had a few people that started to become religious, and what happened? They bring everybody else into with it. And you look at it, it's like a snowball effect. And you want to know something very interesting? You know who gets reward for all of that? The first person that became religious, or the second, or the third, or whatever it is, who's bringing other people religious, they're getting reward for everything that happens after that. Which, think about that. That's like, you could be a billionaire, spiritually speaking, a billionaire in merits by just, for example, I'll give you an example. Jason called me tonight, and we're learning here, it's in his merit. Everything that's happening tonight, he's getting rewarded for. He's getting rewarded for not just for himself, but for everybody here that's sitting over here. And all of you, like, let's say one guy would be like, okay, we're going to a Torah class. I'd be like, why don't you come along? You get a reward for him also. It's like doubles, and it just piles up and up and up. Now imagine if you make somebody religious. If you make somebody religious, now okay, maybe you guys don't know enough to convince somebody to go to become religious, but if you bring him to a class, you get him to come to someone who speaks to him, and he's like, you know what, this is interesting, this is great, and he becomes more and more religious, and let's say he does eventually become religious, everything that happens from then on until he dies, the good, you get reward for. Not only that, now he's going to get married to a religious girl. He's going to have religious children. Who gets reward for all the things that they do? You do. And then they're going to have children. You know what? There's a rabbi in Israel who, who's the Kabbalist, and he has over 1,000, children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren, like descendants. He's still alive. Over 1,000. Because, again, you're talking about Jerusalem, so everyone has like 14 kids on average. So, okay, but whatever. But think about it like that. So 1,000 people, imagine and that's just in a few generations, in one lifetime. Imagine what you could do for generations to come. You know how much reward you get for that? That's what the Zohar says. If somebody realizes the power to make somebody religious, they will just chase after one person their entire life. The power, the reward is so great that we don't realize it. It's like you have a chance, if I give you, like, I don't know, you guys play lottery or something, there's like scratch-offs, right? So there's like, let's say you have a win for life. You have like 2.5, 5. Let's say you get like $20,000 a week for life, right? Let's say you have that situation, and I come there, and I put down 100 of these scratch-offs. Each one costs, I don't know, whatever, $10, whatever the prices are. And I tell you, one of these, for sure, are going to win the 20,000, are you going to even think about, like, you're going to just buy everything? You're not going to be like, well, how much is each one? Like, doesn't matter. The reward, the payout is so much greater, I'll just buy everything. Say you don't have any money. You start collecting out in the street. You start sitting out in the street and be like, I'll just pay you back. Just give me 5 minutes. I'm going to scratch this off. I'm going to win it. And I'm going to get everything back to you. So you'll chase everything to get the money that you need to get that money, so that you could go and win that money. Think of it like that in the spiritual sense. Everything is always the numbers game. You go and you invite one person, maybe yeah, maybe not. You never know. It's always going to help something. But eventually you're going to get somebody. And when you get somebody, that's when you hit the jackpot. That's when you hit it big, and that's when you hit it. That's when you're going. That's when you're going home. That's the thing that's going to take you throughout your life and merits, and the next world. Forget about it. So, going back to the topic at hand, the situation now, if he is going and he's going to go marry this non-Jew, he loses everything. Like, not only everything, he loses his children, his grandchildren. Like, no one's going to be Jewish. He cuts his line. His line is over. And which, came...
brothers also, right?
The brothers?
And his brothers also, yeah.
His brothers,
his brothers are already married with non-Jews?
One of them.
It's going to be very difficult then. Because it's not tabooed anymore in his family.
He's the last one on post hour.
So it's not even, that's even more difficult because it's not taboo.
Yeah. I mean, the parents can't say anything.
Yeah.
Well, apparently, because he's already, I'll give you an example. Say one kid, how are you?
They try, but it's not going to work.
There is one kid, in a family, unfortunately, that commits suicide. It's very easier for another kid to commit suicide now. Why? Because a big reason why people don't do that, or they try not to, or it pushes them not to, is because, I saw once a good liner. It says, suicide doesn't take away your pain, it transfers it to somebody else. Mm-hmm. So a lot of people that, and I spoke to people who are very depressed and and they tell me, one of the reasons I can't do it is I can't do that to my family. Yeah. But now that somebody already did it in the family, so it's like, all right, it's not as bad. They feel so in this situation, and again, I'm not, it's just an example. Don't take me, to where that's a very sensitive topic, suicide, and, unfortunately a very big problem. But if he had already siblings that are already, married into non-Jews, that just made your job a whole lot harder.
That's why we're here?
We should have mentioned that.
Yeah, we should have mentioned that.
No, it's fine. It's not.
It's more. We're just rushing. We're not rushing it in. We're just
right. So so the idea is first of all, knowledge is power. If a person has knowledge, then it does make, even though he's very invested into it, it can change a person's idea. So I'm going to give you a lot of information that you could use for telling these things. So just like we said before, that if you make somebody religious, all the reward that comes out of them, they get rewarded for it. So too the other way, if you get somebody off the religion, and let's use this example. So let's say he's dating Christine, right? And she who sets him up? They had another Jewish guy from public school. They went and be like, hey, listen, I have a girl. I think you guys will be perfect. And he goes and he sets this guy up with Christy. And all of a sudden, they hit it off. And they're like, oh, we're soulmates. We're meant to be together. And they're writing poems. And they have all the nonsense that's going on. It comes out from the same guy who went to, the same way. The same way as if somebody, let's say, goes and let's say says he's dealt with drugs in his life, and he says, he goes to his friend and he says, hey, listen, he says, you ever tried cocaine? You're like, no, you're kidding me, cocaine? I would never do that. He'd be like, okay, you've got to try this. I mean, I know it's bad, but a one-time thing, it's never going to hurt you. Something like that. Gives, makes him a line. Be like, just try it. Do a half a line. You're a newbie. Whatever it is. And he convinces him to do a half a line of coke, whatever it is that he does. And he does this drug. And he's like, his pupils zoom, and he's like, oh, this is good. This is really good. Oh yeah, this is really good. And he does he's like all over the place. He's like doing that. He's like, oh, listen, I have a business idea. You ready to listen to this? Give me a paper. Give me a napkin. I have something that we're gonna do. Hey, listen, you're my friend still? Okay, cool. Because I stole something from you. Don't worry about it. I'll pay you back when I make $1 million from my business deal that we're gonna speak about in a few minutes. Give me a paper. Where's my paper? And he's like all over there. And afterwards, he's like, you know what? This is really cool. This is really good. And he gets addicted to this stuff. And because of that, he stops becoming religious, and he loses his wife, and he loses his family, and he loses his business, and he loses everything. Who is it thanks to? The guy who went and gave him that assist to do that. And he's getting all that downfalls on his head also. Again, it doesn't take away from the guy who did it himself. He's also getting punished. Just like when someone does reward, and I convince somebody to do something good, I don't take away from his. God has plenty to give around the table. He gets it and he gets it. So if you now the next idea is your children. Your children, the way that you raise your children, it says that in the Rosh Hashanah, it says the book of the living and the book of dead are open in front of you. So what happens? Why is the book of living? I understand. We messed up, we did some good, we got judged. Why did the book of dead get judged? And the answer is because they left residual into this world. What happened? What did their actions when they were alive? They could have been alive 100 years ago. They could have been alive 1,000 years ago. They could have been alive who knows how. But they have residual that comes up. And they're like, okay, because of the act that you did, X, Y, and Z, like the butterfly effect. That theory. So you make one change, it changes for who knows how long. So you make it just a dot bit lower. I'm realizing I'm like there, yeah. So you're making the other way up, yeah. So you're making this residual. Perfect. Yeah, thank you. You're making this residual effect. So the dead could be dead 100 years. They're still getting judged for what their actions, the butterfly effect that they did 100 years ago. This could be 1,000. They keep on getting judged for what happened. So the book of the living, the book of dead. Now, what is a main factor in what you get judged and what your kids do? Your kids do because you raised your kids. You have a direct result on their upbringing. So if you raise your kids, you'd be like, okay, listen, go to public school. It's cheap. It's free. Go deal with it. All right, so you'll be friends with Fatima and Christy, or whatever. We'll deal with that. I don't even care anymore. You deal with that situation. And then they go and they marry Fatima and Christine. Sometimes they can marry both if they go to special places. And then because of that, they have a continuation of all the sins that they did. Who's it thanks to? For the parents. The parents, you didn't raise them. You didn't raise them the way that you're supposed to, and that's a big effect. So this guy, now if he is going and he's marrying this girl, all his children, there's going to be a judgment time for all that's going to happen afterwards. Even and by the way, I do have to point this out. Let's say you have a person that you give them, you have a child, and you give the child the right upbringing. And you do what you're supposed to do. You send them to the right schools. You send them to yeshivot. You pay the tuition. It's hard. It's difficult. And you do everything. And then, unfortunately, you have sometimes the kids go off. They go off the road. They go off the D. And so that you're not held responsible for. If you did what you're supposed to do, and it was out of your control, you're not held responsible for it.
Is beating permitted?
Different topic. Generally, nowadays, it's very difficult to do that. If there's more that you could do out of love than beating. However, sometimes if beating is a bad example. Potch is like a little flick. Yeah. Sometimes if a little kid runs out into the street.
Yeah. Oh no, like 16, 17.
I would refrain from that. I would refrain from that. Yeah.
Not first. If they do stupid
stuff. That's a problem. That's a problem nowadays.
We came up like that.
That's a problem. Yeah. So that's
we good.
We'll find out after 120. So now it's a different day and age. I'm not saying you ask psychologists and psychiatrists would be like, no, abuse 911. We'll call you and we'll take you taken away. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that you could accomplish a lot more with love than with beating. However, there's a time and place for things. Generally, after a certain age, it backfires.
Yeah.
They get used to it. They laugh at you. It doesn't even hurt. The little kids say the silliest, the stupidest things. As the parents are hitting them, and they're still let's say 10, they'd be like, it doesn't even hurt. I don't even care. I don't even care anymore. And they're whipping and be like, what does it hurt? A little harder. And then the father's like, I gotta hit the gym now because my kids are not. Yeah, I know. So, but again, it's a case by case. But generally, refrain from it.
We'll try.
If you give the right love and the right upbringing, hopefully you won't need to come to that situation. And if it does, definitely speak to somebody. Never hit out of anger. That's for sure.
Oh, yeah?
Never hit out of anger.
So
Never
hit out of love.
That's something else. But, don't be like one of those people fuming, but this is hurting me more than it's hurting you, one of those type of things. There was somebody who, olden days, there was a righteous person who wanted to, rebuke his kid and even hit his kid. So the kid did something wrong. And he was fuming inside, but he said he's angry. I'm not doing anything now. He would wait. He would wait until the next day. He's calm, and then he comes back to the kid and says, "I need to talk to you." And he says, "You know what you did yesterday is very bad." And he doesn't give it. He just says a little flick, and be like, "Because you hurt me, and because you did something really wrong." He says, "You deserve that, but I didn't want to do it because I was angry. Now I'm doing it only out of love." That's going to go a lot more further for a kid than if you just smack him. And because again, the kids are They're know-it-alls, rebellious. It's going to lead to a lot of other issues. We can speak about it also, but let's finish the topic at hand on the thing.
So what do we do? Pray?
So you pray, you give him as much knowledge as I gave you right now, as much as you could give him that. How much is it going to?
What are we going to do?
That you have to do whatever you could do, and at the end of the day, it's you know, you have to get the parents involved, get somebody who he respects involved. That's also a very big thing. Somebody besides her. Besides her, get somebody that he respects, that is authoritative figure. Is that the one that's married to? And so then he should speak to him as well. He should speak to him as well, because again, you have to realize this. I'll give you another bit of information. You know, everyone has a soulmate, right? You have a soulmate, which means and the soulmate, God's not going to be like, well, your soulmate sucks for you, but she's a non-Jew. It doesn't work that way. You have a Jewish soulmate. Yeah, it could be she would convert, and then it could turn to a soulmate. Soulmates is a whole class in itself, because it's very, and I can't go too much into it now because we'll get way off topic, but I'll give you a very brief overview on it. So you have a soulmate. You came to this world. Most people have soulmates in this world, right? There's some people, depending on the sins, that they're never planning. They're never, going to get married. It could be for previous sins and previous reincarnation. Let's say they married 5 times, or they beat their wives, or they did other things to, and they abused. And part of their punishment is to come back again in this world and never get married. Again, I'm just using an example. Only God knows. But even those type of people, if they do true repentance and they fix themselves and they make themselves correct spiritually, they could still get married. Like God will and that's why sometimes, and this is not always, don't take this, sometimes you see like older people getting married to very young people. Sometimes you see that, it could be for that reason, and it could be just for other reasons as well. But you have a soulmate. Now, if you go and you marry a non-Jew, which means that there's a Jewish woman that's waiting for you, that she's your soulmate, she is the one who you're meant to be with, and now because you screwed things up and you married Christy, now that's it. And you think that life is going to be an easy life? Oh, I guarantee you, interfaith marriages are always problematic. What are we doing? Well, we got to go Passover. Well, I like Easter. My family's doing this. Well, Passover is really important to us. It just causes more feud. Marriage in itself is not a walk in the park. It's a very, very, very long walk on the beach. Where the waves are coming and it's very hard to take one step after the next. It's not, and you're throwing in more obstacles over here. It's going to be very difficult. So there's a soulmate that's waiting there for him. And it's a girl, it's a good girl, somebody he's going to be attracted to, somebody who he's going to love, somebody he's going to like, someone that would share his ambitions and grow with him and do so much. He'll have such a better life with somebody else. And this is, by the way, a guarantee. If you and this is also a really strong thing that you could tell him. And again, there's nothing that I could tell you to do, like say this Kabbalistic prayer, to sprinkle some holy water on him, tie some red strings around his neck, and he'll hate her for the rest of his life. There's not whatever. Most of you're going to be able to do is try to get them through knowledge of things that I'm going to try to give you over some information. So there is an idea as follows, and this idea that's holds very strongly in Judaism. If you listen to God, you can never, and you can take this to the bank. If you listen to God, you can never lose out from it, ever. That's like a guarantee. Now, it might seem like you're losing out temporarily, but in the long run, in the long game, guarantee you'll see the fruits of your labor to it. So right now, listening to God is not marrying her. Not listening to God is marrying her. By him marrying her, he is going to lose out. He's guaranteed going to lose out. He's going to have problems in this world and the next world. Don't think that it's going to be okay. I'll sell this and I'll have an easy life. Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Again, can it be? Very likely. Yeah, maybe. But I'm giving you the overall statistics. Very likely that's not. There was a woman there was back in Germany before the Holocaust. The Jews became very German. If you know what I mean. They became very, like now you have Jews very American. Like you can't tell a Jew from you can always tell, but they try to act as if you can't, you can't tell. So, which is funny because sometimes you go and you see like even Orthodox Jews, like they try not to, let's say they go to a game or something like that, they try, or whatever it is, they're going to a place that maybe they would say you shouldn't be technically there, so they go, so they'll wear a baseball cap, and you have, another Jew there. And this is, a fun game to play to just mess with them, but don't do it. But it'd be like, you pray it? And they'll be like, what? I'm like, what do you mean, pray what? Like, mincha, do you pray mincha? Be like, he's like, what? Like, what do you mean? Like, he's trying to like throw it off and be like, as if you're like selling him drugs. Be like, and there's a cop around. Be like, come on, I know you're Jewish. It's like, how do you know that I'm Jewish? And really? Like, are you serious? Like you think we can't tell? We could spot a Jew from a mile away, and so could other people. Or our bagel and locks, come on. So we all know. So so people try to run away. How did I even get here? I don't even know what were we doing with speaking about looking like Jews. I don't even know how I got to. Oh, the German. So the Germans wanted to become very German, and one of them went and he married a German woman, not Jewish woman, and I think they had one kid. And there was one, and when Hitler did his roundup, he went, and there was one guy who was crying more than everybody else. And the people were asking him, like, what's going on? I mean, like, we all know where we're going to, we know what's the problem, but like, you're like way over the top to another level. And he's like, you don't understand. He's like, you see that woman over there holding the baby, smiling? And they're like, yeah. He's like, that's my wife. She ratted me out. That's why I'm here. He's like, I thought I loved her. I thought she loved me. And when they heard that they're rounding up Jews, she sent her own husband to that. So again, you think about love. You don't know anything about love. This guy doesn't know anything about love. What is love? Love is, you can't. Is he willing to give up a kidney for her? If he says yes, I call BS on that.
We should ask him. Should I text him right now?
So what? I'll tell you like this. I'll tell you. A lot of people, say, this is another thing. Don't use this, but this is another thing that. Who did I hear this from? I think maybe Rabbi Zachariah Wildstein heard it. Yeah, it's from Rabbi Zachariah Wildstein. So there was a girl, and this is a religious couple that were dating, like high school dating. So it's like you're not supposed to be dating, in high school because what are you doing dating in high school? There's not, as an Orthodox Jew, you're not supposed to touch the opposite sex. You're not supposed to, so dating always complicates these things. So, and also it takes your mind. If you're dating a girl, especially at your age, you can't focus on anything else. You're like texting, like 74/7, which is like 50 hours above the 24/7, because you're like always texting, you're always this, you're always together. You can't even think about anything else. You're just completely enveloped in this. Can't work, no school, nothing. So there was this couple that was dating, and they went and she was the student of the rabbi. So she goes with the rabbi. It's like, Rabbi, you don't understand. It's like, I love him. Like he'll do anything for me. And he's like, yeah, I understand. He's like, come on, this is what guys tell, because guys want to get certain things and they know how to get it. They say certain things. Like, yeah, of course I love you. Yeah, of course I'll be with you forever. And then he says, you guys planning to get married? And she's like, yeah, of course we're planning to get married. He's like, okay, bring him in. I want to speak to him. So she brings him in, and he goes over to him and he says, so you want to marry? You love this girl? And he's like, yeah, of course I love her. And he goes over to her again, to the guy, and she says, do you love him? She's like, oh, with all my heart, Rabbi, with all my heart. And she goes over to him and says, you guys, you're planning on getting married? And she's like, oh yeah, we're planning on married, having kids, white picket fence, the whole story. So then he goes to her and he says, you also planning on marrying her? And he's like, yeah, of course, I'll love her for the rest of my life. I'll treat her like a princess, whatever, all the other stuff. And he's like, okay, cool. And then he calls over two guys from the kitchen. He's like, hey guys, come in here. And the guy's like, what's going on here? He's like, we're gonna write up a marriage certificate right now. He says, you guys are willing to get married, right? And she's like, really? She's like, listen, you guys could have a big wedding, but you're gonna be officially married. You guys said you're willing to get married. Let's make it official. Why you gotta wait for? So she's like, wait, but we're going to be officially married? It's like, yeah, whenever you wanted to get your wedding day and dress in a year, whatever, do your big party then, but you'll be officially married now. And she's like, okay. She's like, oh yeah, let's do it. And then he goes to him and he's like, you on board? And he turns to every shade of every color that he has on, possible. He's like, what do you mean? He's like, what do you mean getting married now? I'm like, I'm 19. So he's like, you just told me you want to marry her. He's like, I got witnesses over here. We're going to write up a contract, and let's do it right now. He says, you love her, right? He's like, yeah, of course I love her. He's like, I can't even get words out. And then he's like, so let's do it. And she's like, yeah, come on, Chaim, let's do it. So he's like stammering, and he's like going over. He's like, you don't understand. He's like, I'm very young. He's like, I have to speak to my parents. What about this? What about that? I just thought you told me you were going to marry her. And she's like, yeah, you told me you were going to marry me. And they were going back and forth. And he's like, and to the extent, then he's like starting shit over excuses. He's like, listen, I'm still young. I want to go to Israel. I want to maybe learn. Who knows what's going to happen? The rabbi's like, aha, who knows what's going to happen? So you're not for sure going to marry her. So you're just telling me right now, you just proved to me that you're not interested. You're just interested for certain other things. This guy stood up, said a few, truck backing upwards, beep, beep, beep. And he just walked out of the house. And later, the girl thanked him for it. Originally, it's hard to thank him for that because all the emotions are. But later, the girl actually thanked him. So you have this guy over here. He's willing to get married. Let's see if we're able to do a marriage right now. Get onto the podium, however the secular people get married. Let's do it right now. It's like, are you willing to do that? Are you willing to give a kidney for her? Are you willing to do everything for her? Chances are, no. Because why? Because he's 19.
What if he says yes?
Come here. We'll stage one.
Really?
Yeah, we'll stage one. Let's see if he's gonna pull through with it.
You would have like a license and everything?
We'll make something up. Don't worry about that.
No, make sure. Like,
So
trust me when I say this.
He wouldn't say yes now.
No.
He wouldn't. I know he wouldn't.
He would say yes in the future, though.
In the future, but right now he wouldn't. Nobody is willing to get married right then.
At 19 years old.
No, he's not going to do that. So,
Waiting already.
I'm telling you that 9 out of 10, no, 99 out of 100 are not going to, they're not going to be like, yeah, okay, let's just get married. A woman maybe.
Yeah.
A guy, Not, he could love her, he could give her his heart, but he's not, we're, as men, there's one thing we're afraid of, and that's commitment. Everything else, a kidney, whatever, I'll figure something out. But commitment, hold up. So that will just, what is the point of that? Just to show him you're not that vested in there yet. The point here is to show him, listen, you said yourself you love her, but you're not ready to get married to her right now. Which means is, you think that you're all the way in, you're not all the way in. You're not married with 5 kids. You have a house, a business, and you divorce or you lose everything, you lose half, or whatever it is. You're not that vested in it yet. So you can use that tactic as well. So you're still early on in the stage. What I would recommend, and I would offer this, I will get him to Israel for free. As long as he wants, he could tour there, he could travel there, free room and board, he could learn a little bit over there. And in fact, for all of you also. They wouldn't let him go to there?
Also.
Not only that, Steve doesn't like
saying
going.
no.
Steve said he doesn't like going around the world. He likes staying in the home. That's what he said. I was like,
like a good Gorski girl, like staying at home. Right?
Every guy likes
Keep her
going
hidden.
around the world. He's like, no,
Like for birthright.
No.
You wouldn't be interested in that.
His parents, no. The secular, but they're also strict. Like.
Apparently not strict enough.
Yeah.
No.
He's right.
No. Look, his mom says no.
To her.
Still doesn't.
Yeah, to her. He says,
Okay.
Father too. No. Father too.
okay.
Father is like a little bit.
You know what? This is a payment. This is unfortunately one of the results of going to public school. I'm not saying it can't happen if you don't, because you can meet a girl in college or what business or whatever it is, but in public school you have prom and you have all these other dances and parties and things like that. It's only like, what do you think that's going to happen? You're going to find there half of the girls are attractive. Half of them all of them that are attractive don't wear any clothes. So you're a guy with hormones raising through the roof. What do you think? You're not going to be like, hey.
So it's like we got lucky.
You did. You really did. You have some spiritual, stuff going on for you.
I was always scared of a whooping. I don't know.
And I always told myself I will always marry a Jewish girl, no matter what happens.
That's good. Are you guys all been to public school?
Yeah.
Yes, but I will always.
You guys all graduated?
Yeah.
You're in public school still? Which school?
FDR.
Oh wow.
I'm not worried about him. Trust me.
I am.
No,
How old are you?
No.
16.
Your parents ever let you go to yeshiva?
I went when I was young.
Which school? Baragola. I was gonna say, they would not be interested in going back? Why not?
It's too fun.
That's it? That's the only reason?
It's expensive.
Forget about the money.
The money donation.
If we could get you a full scholarship, would you go? No. You're willing to risk it. You could end up like this guy.
I would let that.
I would have let that. Yeah.
Well, it's your brother?
That's his brother. Yeah.
So I'm saying to you. I'm saying to him. You don't think we could get him to go to yeshiva for the next 2 years? What are you, 11th grade or 10th grade? 11. So you're in 11th grade now. So you have 1 more year after this. Great. Then you have the big prom. The big Yetzirah, the Satan is going to come there with steroids.
He should look over and lost nothing.
Not going to happen. Your parents would never agree to it.
They would.
They would?
It's up to him.
All right. Maybe we'll speak to you afterwards. Spice things up. You should
I'm
do
not
it.
worried about
You
him,
should.
though.
I am.
No. In the sense of marriage.
Forget about.
You whoop him. I'll whoop him.
Forget about marriage. Everything. You're going to get out into the real world knowing very little about Judaism. You're over there in school. Now is a time where you can learn a lot. They'll teach you the basic stuff. It's you're getting up there and you're going to be like. It's not like you're going to have a bad education. I mean, let's be honest. FDR's no Harvard. All right. So it's not like you're downgrading on stuff. You're not downgrading. That's for sure. You're only going up. And not only going up, I'm going to give you a promise right now. You're doing this for God. I promise you, you will never lose out from it. You're only going to gain from it. Think about it. We'll come back to it and bother you a little bit more. Bring him to more of my classes.
Yeah, I'll bring him on.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
So you said about soulmate. So everyone coming to this earth and they have already the soulmate?
So most people do.
But like, how does it work if, like, I know how, like, a lot of religious people married, they
Divorce?
Like, no, marrying, like
Yeah.
the process. They're dating the girl for like really legal amount of time, and they don't really get into love before they marry.
That's Gorski marriage.
No,
Yeah.
that's not real good.
No, it's a lot. It's not only Gorski. It's a lot else. You're asking.
Yeah, so like,
how did they know-
How does that work? That
So it says what does you know what it says? What does God do? No, like, what does God do with his time?
can I just?
Yeah.
So, like, because I was talking with a rabbi about that, and he said that in order to marry it, you just need a sympathy with her and know like her character, right? So I mean, like,
I hear your question.
can't connect
How could you
that
say that that's a soulmate if we don't get to choose and we don't get the thing? Right, Nathan? Okay. So Nathan's asking a very good question. The question is that if there is a soulmate, and correct me if I have a thing, how can you say arranged marriages, and let's keep it like that, I think that's more simpler, get their soulmates? Because they just sort of like, whatever, wing it or something like that. So that's an excellent question. Excellent question. And it's actually very interesting because the really religious and Orthodox do arrange marriages. Like the Hasidic do arrange marriages, which is something very interesting. The Gorskis also do arrange marriages, which is very interesting because a lot of them are very secular. They're very secular, and I've been speaking, it's very odd. I found it's very interesting, but
Back in the day, like how I explained it, like my mom explained it, back in the day, like they were religious. Like we didn't, like us now, nothing compared.
After like when USSR came, they all like got more secular.
Yeah.
No, they like hid it, but some people hid
they were
it.
very religious. Yeah.
Like like when you have a dinner, like they used to have cows or lamb or whatever, and they have
One, and then for everything, everybody is a
choice.
yeah.
yeah.
That's
So
that's what I'm saying.
So yeah, you guys, it's very interesting because the Gorski community, they keep some old traditions very strong.
Yeah.
Some of them are completely nonsense, like the superstition stuff,
Yeah.
like completely nonsense.
Which one?
the ones,
Most of them, like pick any of them. Give me one.
The music in the
Whistling
No, the
You
grave.
have to shut the music down the graveyard.
down the where?
You know when you go by the grave?
By
Like,
Avenue K. You know when you,
Oh, you saw the music?
yeah.
It's like,
Yeah, it's maybe respect. I don't know.
Yeah.
I it's respect,
I
but
just do it from like my heart.
I don't know if like you have keys on the table, empty bottles on the table. You don't have anything of that. What's your other superstitious stuff?
what's the
Broken mirror,
I already know all these
Yeah, broken mirror.
broken mirror,
Whistle in the
nonsense.
house.
Whistle in the house.
That's all. That's
Black hat?
You know,
Crossing it? Would you cross a black hat?
No.
That's not
I will cross the blood.
That's not Gorski.
I spit 3
Oh, okay.
times.
That's American.
Yeah.
What else? So what's a Gorski superstition?
When you see a black hat, you
No,
spit 3
like-
times.
Bro, Jason, get out.
No, you know this thing?
This is Christian. Yeah, that's Christian. Knock on wood is Christian. Not allowed to. Knock on wood. You know why they do it? Because he's on a wooden cross. He did this thing.
You spit 3 times.
Huh?
Grandma coming.
No spit.
Like,
It's disgusting.
pressure, like S, like in order to not how to say it, like.
Whatever it is, nonsense. The first part, I didn't even hear the rest of the part. That's all nonsense.
I was gonna say like I started thinking about all these superstition things like you can't walk over a person or you can't whistle in the house or you can't do like things like certain things, right? That's I still thinking about it and then I thought about like this idea as a theory that maybe you can't do it. They were all made back in the time, like old times. Why? So like maybe it's annoying to some people, right? Let's
It
say
could be.
in the house,
They're like, oh, stop it.
no,
Right.
How do you tell a kid stop whistling?
It's bad luck.
Why? So you tell them it's bad luck.
You know, it could. You know, it's funny. It's possible that's how it started. You know, there was once a woman.
Break a mirror 7 years
Yeah.
old.
Imagine a kid walking over you 3 times.
Right. I hear that. It's very interesting because there was once a woman. She was in the supermarket. Came from African American, let's just say, and she's sitting over there waiting in the supermarket, and the boy picks up a candy. It's like they put it very strategically right where you buy children level, eye level, to the children. So he takes out the candy and she's like, "Yo, Jerome." Like, "Yeah, Mama." He's like, "You can't have that. It's not kosher." He's like, "Okay, Mama." And he puts it back. And there was a Jewish guy standing in line. And he's like, "Oh, are you Jewish?" He's like, She's like, "No, we're not Jewish. We're Christian." He says, "So what was that?" He's like, "I don't know. I go always in the store. I see the Jewish mothers yelling at the kids, you can't buy it. It's not kosher." They listen. So I started teaching my kid that. we only buy kosher candy because of that. So, and the kids like whatever. So it could be the same way, just like sort of build up with that. But the funny thing, yeah, it is. Yeah, the funny thing is that you know, they have these people that they keep the superstition stuff, but they don't keep the real stuff. Like Shabbat is one of the most important things that you could do. You could do okay, it's more easier and difficult, fine. But at the same point in time, like this is legit. It says Ki Mikol Bachad. Shabbat is the source of all the blessing. Don't worry about the blessing. As long as we don't whistle, you know, we don't call any demons or whatever they think the whistling does, and we're not going to step over somebody because then he's going to stay a midget and 3 feet because of that, whatever it is, you know, that will be okay. Be like, no, of course you shouldn't believe in that. But the Shabbat you should believe in. The fact that Shabbat is the source of all the blessing in your life, that you should believe in. But anyways, the question is, going back to Nathan's question, was how do we choose our soulmate if we don't get to choose? Exactly. He says, are our parents privy to this information that we're not privy in it? How do we know? Yeah. Right. So it really is, how do you know that is your soulmate? You can never be like, and I get this question very often, how to know that she's the one? And I'm not even, I'm talking about somebody who's been dating them for like 4 years. Like, dude, if you don't know by now, you're never going to know. Yeah, and generally speaking, you won't know. You'll never be like, unless you're a girl, he's the one for me. Like she has a wedding plan and everything is like in there. Like I dreamed about this person like since I was. But let's be honest. Intellectually speaking, some people, and I ask this all the time to people that are dating and they're about to get married. I'm saying, what percentage are you sure about this? What percentage? I have only gotten once. I'm 100% sure. I've only, out of all the people that I've asked, and I've asked many people, everyone's like, I'm nervous. I think, like 80%, 90%. Like
100% sure on being
100% sure that I know that she's the one for me.
Are they happy?
The one that said 100%, he's going through a very difficult time. Very difficult time. Almost close to divorce.
No.
Almost close to divorce.
Wait a minute.
So
I have a curious question about it. Is it like because it wasn't the one, or?
No, not necessarily. So
because like it's more of how to say passion love or something.
No, right, infatuation. So yeah. So I'll try. I'm going to answer your question. In a few steps. So, because it's always good when you answer a question to do things systematically, because then you get a much better understanding in it. So, so you have people that date for so long, and they marry, and then they get divorced, or things like that. Like, how did you not know? You dated her for like 7 years. How did you know that he doesn't shower? Like you dated him for so long. Why is this coming up now as a problem? So that there's a few reasons for that. First of all, people, date. They're not really, it's dating. You're doing fun stuff. There's no commitment stuff. And then some people been dating for so long, they're like, okay, we might as well get married now. We've been so stuck together, which is one of the things I'm afraid about this guy. He's been so long with her, I'd be like, whatever, we're going all the way with it. Because like even sometimes it'd be like, I don't know, I'm backing out a little bit, and then you're like, but I can't. We've gone too far. You're like,
Yeah. Like him, like right now, he's like, he's like calm. He's like.
Because he's not, of course, because he's just dating. He's not married. He's not proposing yet. But anyway, so let's get back to the soulmate question. So now you have, you're dating a person. You can never know for sure. But what you could, if you deal with everything, again, the way that you're supposed to find out who the girl is, you're supposed to work like a. Anybody here speak Hebrew? Nothing. You're supposed to, a little bit. Okay. You're supposed to. So I'm not going to use the terminology for it. It's a cool thing. But anyways, you're supposed to think this way. First, it's supposed to make sense up here in the brain. Then it's supposed to make sense over here in the heart. And then it's supposed to make sense over there, right? And that order. Sometimes it goes reverse, but it has to make, and it doesn't necessarily problem if it all goes together. But you have to make sense of it. Is this a girl that shares your same ideas in life, the same passions, and everything goes the right way, and then you get through to marriage, you can be rest assured that this is the right one for you. How? Because what we started off with saying is like, what does God do now? God created the world. What does He do? So the sages say, the Chachamim, the Chazal tell us that one of the things that God does is all day He makes matches. He sets up with this one, and this one with this one. And not only dating, all meeting things. He's like, okay, you're going to meet with this guy because this is going to be a business idea in the future. You're going to have friends because you're all friends because you could help each other for something. Not because you just went to the same school or you grew up in the same neighborhood. There's a reason. The proof is, you could have a guy that lives in, let's say, your same building or the same vicinity. You hate him. No reason. You don't want it. But for some reason, you guys are a clique. Why are you a clique? For a reason. Not because, whatever, we all like whatever, X, Y, and Z together. No, but there's a reason for it. So when you're going, so God makes these matches. If you did everything that you're supposed to do legally, when I say legally, I'm not talking about the American legal. I'm talking about halachically legal. You did everything kosher, you could rest assured that you get married, that she's the right one, and you have to work it out. This is one of the reasons. There's an obligation to get. There's a mitzvah, I guess you could say, to give a divorce, give a get, a divorce. The question is, why don't we make a blessing when you give a divorce? There's no blessing that when you make a divorce. You make a blessing when there's blessings in any other mitzvah. No blessing for divorce. You want to know why? Because most people, and this is not across the board, because some people do need to get divorced. There's like psychological issues, whatever. There are issues that people need to get divorced. But most divorces should not happen. It's because people didn't work it out. They could have worked it out. Case in point, look at now. You know why the divorce rate is through the roof? Ask your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents. They said divorce in the house, you get smacked.
Yeah.
The husband could be smacking the wife. Well, it doesn't matter. Someone's getting smacked. If someone says the D word, the divorce. Nowadays, it's like you're married for like 6 weeks. You'd be like, he doesn't want to get me my Prada shoes. I don't know if I did the right choice over here. Like it's so, so stingy. Like maybe I should divorce. Like you throw it out like it's a piece of cake over here.
Yeah.
So not that you think like now divorce is all through the roof. Oh, maybe people are not married to the soulmate. No, we're just messing it up. We're just not doing what we're supposed to be doing. So how do you know? So sometimes you'll go and you get set up. If everything makes sense and everything is right, that is your soulmate, because God orchestrates everything just like He orchestrated it. Again, it has to go this way. Don't go the other way around, and it has to make sense spiritually speaking also. Like you're getting married to a girl who has no interest, in dressing modestly, no interest in keeping Shabbat. That's going to be a very big problem for you, because when she's dressing immodestly, guess who gets all the sins? The guy, the husband. He's letting his wife dress like a prostitute in the street, right? So it's he's getting all the guys that are looking at his wife. And nowadays, we're so sick in this world that guys could be walking in the street and other guys are looking at his wife, and he's like, yeah, that's right, this is mine. And they'll like feel prideful about it. I'm like, that is the stupidest thing. Like, this guy is just, making a sin tonight thinking about your wife. This guy is going to make another sin doing it, who knows what. This guy, all thanks to your wife. Who's it thanks her? To her lovely husband. He'll be like, yeah, why not? Dress in the 6-inch heels. Forget about the skirt. Just wear a long shirt. Whatever it is that they're gonna put in. Who's gonna get punished for that? The guy. So if you marry a type of girl like that, it's going to be a very big problematic. And don't think, by the way, now you guys are in the Gorski community, I speak both to the Gorski guys and the Gorski girls. Baruch Hashem, people say there's no good Gorski girls or Gorski guys. There are. The ones that come to my classes. No, I'm kidding. I'm just joking. No, but seriously. They're coming to learn Torah. They're coming to learn Torah. These are girls that want to grow. These are girls that are going to be good girls. And when you're learning Torah, when you come learn Torah, it's not just like, okay, well, the way that you keep Shabbat is this, and the way that you shake the lulav is this, and the way that you do this. No, we teach and we learn and we study how to become better people. One of the main focuses in life of the Vilna Gaon is to fix your character trait. I'll tell you the story. I told this many times before in my classes. There's a couple that I know. I speak to the guy and to the girl. And the guy started becoming religious first. And the girl, they were married. And the girl was like, at first she was like, oh, come on, I'm not interested in that. It's a lot of responsibilities. In the beginning it's a lot. Afterwards you get used to it. It's a breeze. It's enjoyable. So I have to start wearing skirts and then whatever, all these different things. And she's like, I was really against it. But then she noticed that this guy was coming to classes consecutively, very, very interested in learning, very, very like a serious guy. And he started becoming religious, and then all of a sudden she starts coming to class. I was like, oh, what happened? She says, to be honest, he wasn't as angry anymore. He's nicer to me. He's like, he became a nicer person. And I'm like, yeah, that's what he's supposed to do. That's the way Judaism is supposed to be. When you become religious and observant, it doesn't mean that you're just, religious and observant, so you do certain things. No, it means you're becoming a better person. And that's what we study. Many, many books, in fact, almost all the books teach you how to become a better person, how to treat a spouse, how to treat your child, how to do all these things. How to not be angry, not be prideful, be more patient, be more selfless, be all these things to become a better person, and then it evidently leads to being a happier person. You live a happier life. This is a guaranteed. You're religious. I'm not talking about religious like you pretend to be religious. You're religious. You are going to live a happier life, a much better life. This is even scientifically proven that if you believe in a higher power, I don't care, you can believe in aliens. If you believe in a higher power, whatever religion is, you already are able to deal with life much easier. Because if something bad happens, you'd be like, okay, the aliens have a purpose for this, or like if you're smart, God has a purpose for this. If you're a little sillier, Jesus has a purpose. Whatever it is that your situation that you're dealing with, you're like, okay, there is a reason for this, and you're able to cope. Your stress level goes down. Your happiness goes up. You're able to deal with life, whatever life throws at you. So, to answer your question, how do you know that there's your soulmate? When you're married, you'll know that's your one. But again, if you do the things that you're supposed to be doing, and you make the right choices, then you should rest assured that you married the right one. Never start second guessing, because guys, this is one thing that everybody always thinks. I get it all the time. I might be able to do better. No, I can do better. I for sure can do better. I mean, come on.
Unless she's a lawyer.
Then you could definitely do better. Yeah. And by the way, you should know that you cannot. The reason why we can't marry non-Jews is not because they're bad people. There are many non-Jews, unfortunately, that could be better than Jews. They could be, very righteous Gentiles. Keep the 7 mitzvahs ben Enoch. They keep everything that they're supposed to. They do everything the way that they're supposed to. But the problem is that they're just not meant for you. God says very simply, not for you. And just because of that, that's already the reason that you're not allowed to be with her, and that's it. That's as far as it goes. Doesn't matter if it's a bad or worse, and that's it. It's not meant for that person. Did that answer your question? A bit. Okay.
So,
I know. Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to ask you something. So about the mikveh, the whole story of the mikveh.
About a woman mikveh or a man mikveh?
No,
a man. Okay.
Yeah. So me, I have never been in mikveh. As long as I remember living, I have never been in mikveh. Recently, before the Yom Kippur started, the whole fast started, me, my friends, 3 of us, went to mikveh, and I don't know if it was just me or I'm going crazy, but I went inside, and once I went inside the room of the mikveh alone, I started getting nauseous. I started getting, not nauseous, lightheaded. And I'm walking around, I'm like, what is going on? I don't understand. I walk outside the room, and I'm fine.
Oh, really?
So, how does this make sense? And then Stas had the same problem.
You had the same problem?
And then Dennis, you had the same thing? Yeah.
I'll give you 2 answers. I'll give you a scientific answer and I'll give you a spiritual answer. Okay? I'll give you a scientific answer, which, give it or take it. Mikvahs are hot. They're steam. It wasn't hot? The room wasn't hot? My scientific answer just went out the window. Because when you get hot, you ever been in a sauna? You guys are Russian, you've been in a sauna, so you get that. That's what I'm thinking. That's scientific, yeah. But if you're not that, then all I have is a spiritual answer for you.
It was like Dead Sea. It was like Dead Sea.
So it wasn't, right. So what's the reason for it? Yeah, I don't know. Your spiritual souls are screaming is what the reason for it is.
That's not a good thing, is it?
It's a good thing that it's screaming. At least you could hear it. How long did you never heard it before? So it's a good thing now you're able to little perceive.
My sins are screaming at me
I had only one time in the mikveh. Also, it was a year or something ago. I was in Israel, and it was really old mikveh, I think 1,000 more years. And
was it really cold?
It was crazy.
Was it in a mountain and near a graveyard?
Huh?
Was it near a graveyard?
No.
Was it the Arizal's mikveh? Tveria?
Tveria or Tzfat?
Tzfat, probably Tzfat. You probably went to Arizal's mikveh. Really small hole?
Yeah.
You go in the stone floor?
The stones.
Yeah, probably the
really
Rizal.
small,
Yeah. Probably Rizal, freezing, right?
Yeah, it's freezing.
Yeah.
But
you guys are Russian, you'll be able to do
it. Beating crazy, and
right.
Is it
well, first of all, let's understand the idea with mikvah. Mikvah, you don't have an obligation as a man to go to the mikvah. Kabbalistically, very important to do it. Obligation you don't have. A woman has an obligation to go to the mikvah when she's married. Right? Every so often, she's married, she has to go to the mikvah. A man doesn't have an obligation, but spiritually, it very, 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 very much helps you. And a lot of people say after, especially if you mess up in a certain sin, let's say wasting seed or whatever, that very important to go to the mikvah afterwards. And don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean that it's completely okay, and that's completely, you have to actually do full tshuva on it. But I go to the mikvah once a week. For sure, if not more, yeah. So that's my personal things, and it's very important to go to a mikvah, and you do feel a little bit different. You do feel a little bit different, and especially you think you're feeling different. Find out what a convert also has to go to the mikvah. Before a convert has to be able to convert, it has to go to the mikvah. So this is why one rabbi said, why mikvah is so important. He says if it's able to make a non-Jew a Jew, because you're able to convert by going to the mikvah, you have to go into the mikvah to convert. So if that's what it's able to do to a non-Jew, imagine what the mikvah could do to a Jew. So it's very. I'm a very big. I push going to the mikveh. I think that's really, if you're able to handle it and deal with it, I push it very strongly, and for good reasons. It does, you feel different from it. If you ever get like angry, if you're like really angry, dip into the mikveh, you'll be like, oh, it takes away anger. And you like really feel like I want to do a full length class on like kabbalistically on what the mikveh is. It's on the list on one of the many classes that I have planned on doing. But it's a very, so what you guys are feeling is, help me, it's your soul speaking, and it's something that, start waking up.
I have a question. Okay, I'm just gonna go back to the beginning of the class.
Yeah.
So pray.
Let's do a recap. How about that?
No, because.
Oh, okay.
Because I don't know about.
It's his cousin.
Yeah.
Okay. You take it more personally. Yeah. It's
yeah,
very
because grew up with the kid, like since I was like this,
Yeah.
Come on, it kills me, like you don't understand,
No, of course, and it should hurt you. It should.
No, every time I hear something, I'm like, bro, don't talk to me about it. It's just gonna kill me more and more by the second. It's I don't want to hear it anymore because
You guys hang out with him still?
Yeah, he's like close friend, very close friend.
Should we not?
No, you should. No, not at all. You should.
Yeah.
But I also think this is I think about this for a completely different reason. But I think you guys in general should start coming to classes. It's going to affect him also. Not he's not going to come. And if he comes to one of my classes, any class, doesn't have to be my class, any class you want to go to, you go to anyone you want, anybody you want, just start learning some sort of Torah. But if you ever do bring him to my class and he's like, well, he's going to speak. If he wants, we can not even touch that, because Torah has a very strong power. Even if you don't teach somebody about the particular problem that they're having, the Torah is a spiritual thing. It seeps in. Come on. Are you guys enjoying yourself now? You feel a little bit spiritual, a little bit better. You're sitting in a sukkah. Torah does stuff for you. Torah. See. Torah has, depending on the school you went to, Torah has the ability to penetrate. And I asked this once because I was right when I started teaching years ago. Even before that, one guy wanted to learn with me, and he wanted to learn with me Gemara, the Talmud, which is a difficult concept to understand. So I went over to a rabbi. And I said, what should I learn with this guy? I'm thinking what's the best thing that I can make him become more religious? What Gemara should I learn? And the rabbi's like, oh no, any Gemara. I'm like, no. Maybe you don't understand my question. I want a good Gemara. I said I want it interesting, as if all the Gemara's not interesting. All the Gemara's amazing, but I want something good that's going to get him in there, and maybe speak about the next world, something cool about that. And he was, yeah. So he said something you don't understand about the Torah. Torah, he says, works that it doesn't matter what you teach him. Torah seeps in. Torah seeps in, is going to change the person. It doesn't matter what you learn. You're learning Torah, it's going to change you. It's going to change you on a level that some more than others. Again, obviously, it's good to learn things that you're interested in, especially when you're starting. When you're starting, I'm a very big proponent to learn interesting stuff. That's why I try. Most of my classes are very interesting classes, are very stuff that you could tag along with. So because that's you should start off with things like that are very interesting. So. But it changes you, and it's gonna. If you're able to come to a shiur Torah, you can tell him, listen, I'll tell the guy or whatever. You don't even tell him that person is, and you won't speak about it. And it's funny because sometimes it's just gonna end up coming out. I'll tell you why. Because I was giving a class once, and not a class, multiple classes in a certain place, and I kept on speaking about a certain topic, and that topic was adultery. And it was a very small class, of a few people in there, and I don't know why. It just kept on coming into my mind. I don't know if you noticed me. I have a lack of a filter, so things come here, right out. So and things came up. So we started speaking about adultery, not how to do it, but how to get away from it and how to avoid it and how to fix it and all things like that. And I spoke about it consecutively for a while, and then a guy comes up to me from the class and he says, there's something I need to tell you. So I'm like, what's up? He was very embarrassed. I'm like, listen, I deal with all the issues, and if I just tell you what I dealt with this week, you already won't be embarrassed. So, as whoever was there on Friday night knows what I'm talking about. If I don't know if you guys stayed till the end of that.
Yeah.
So, what?
Friday night?
No. This is talking about over a year ago. Yeah. So the story. So then he's like, it's something that you speak about a lot. I'm like, I don't know. I speak about so many different topics. I don't even know what I speak about. So he's like, and then he says, it's like you recently spoke about a lot, and that's why. And it was about adultery. He was unfortunately committing a very big sin, and I don't know. It wasn't me. It wasn't like I sensed. Come on. it's all like God put something in my mind and I just, said it. And then it just worked out. So we were able to actually work out with a very serious sin that he was dealing with, Baruch Hashem. So just because he comes and you don't tell him, you never know, the rabbi might just end up speaking about it. But you can tell them, I never said anything. It was nothing to do with me. So, but yeah, Torah helps him. And Torah, if you guys are learning Torah, so you guys are hanging out with him, you guys are going to start changing. You're going to be a little bit different. Maybe not consciously, but subconsciously you're going to be a little bit different. It's going to have effect. It's going to have an effect. It has an effect on your whole thing. Just look at it. I didn't even have to go too far because I could prove it to you from the Gorski community. Look at the Gorski community. You have one guy that became religious, all his friends are starting to become religious, slowly.
Yeah, I saw it.
And then you have, your cousin. So, and not only that, look at the parents. Parents are very difficult to become religious. Much more difficult. Much more. But look at it, just a little bit. Guarantee, I don't know any particular situation, I didn't speak to anybody, but I can guarantee you, just a little bit, they're doing something else. Maybe they're lighting Shabbat candles. Maybe they're respecting it more. Maybe inside they had nothing to do with religion. Now they're okay, they're tolerating it. It does something to you. It changes who you are. That's a guarantee. So if you start coming to classes, it's going to eventually change you. You guys are hanging out with him, and it's going to eventually also, change. It's going to have a ripple effect on him also. Try to get him to come to classes at least. Tell him, listen, just come to class. Forget about it. We're not going to speak about you and Christy.
It's on Fridays, right? On Tuesday.
Friday Shabbat.
Friday and Tuesdays is my guys' class. I have a Wednesday class, which is like more of a talking thing and a thing. But I try push is for the Tuesday class. Try to come for the Tuesday class because that's a class that I'm just giving over information. You're gonna come in learning it, a lot. It's not so much. This is more back and forth. After that class, we do back and forth as much as we need to. But this way, you get information. You get some knowledge. So Tuesday or Friday night, as you get, I don't know, it's more back and forth. It's more back and forth. And it's, it depends. Every week is different. I don't know, we had a ton of people over there. Not always we get such a large crowd on Friday night. So,
I have to sit right next to hear you.
Yeah. So it's a relaxing environment. It's enjoyable. So it's more back and forth. It's a little bit more advanced, the class, though. That class wasn't so advanced, but generally my Friday night classes are a little bit more advanced. The Tuesday nights are more what's it called? Yeah.
Felt it heavy, no?
What?
What's called
When we learned wasting seed?
Yeah, wasting seed.
Oh,
That's a class that we're going to be giving B'ezrat Hashem soon over here. I'm going to be doing it in depth over here. In the coming what?
No, to us only he gave it, not to the year.
Oh, you're talking about you were there in that class a year ago, or
we were.
Not last night.
No,
not last year. Last year when I gave.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So
We were there. We were like shocked.
Yeah. Oh, so that was a long time ago, you guys.
We were shocked.
So I'm creating a whole new I'm rearranging my whole class on that. I'm B'ezrat Hashem want to give because I never did it on camera. I gave it. I'll tell you what, because I did it 2 and a half years ago also, and I gave 6 hours on a topic of wasting seed, and I never recorded it. It was Friday night. Friday night is my bulk of my, we do tons of learning because it was something that we learn for hours. So I want to do it on a camera. I'm going to rearrange it also, do it a little bit differently. So I'm going to give that class again. That's a topic that you have to keep on hearing again and again, especially at your age. But let's wrap up at least the first question that we started off with. The question was, and let me know when you guys want to, how long you want to go till. It's up to you guys. So, you guys, what's it called?
I don't even look at the time.
So, you have a good time when you have fun.
Yeah.
Time goes by fast when you have a lot of fun. Okay, so you wanted to recap because it's it's a relative.
More or less.
So number one, pray. Number two, try to give him as much knowledge as you possibly can. The knowledge that we gave you, again,
Don't give
it's
up.
not going to, never ever give up in that person. Never ever give up. He also has to understand, if you want, I could upload this video so you guys could review it. So never ever give up. Never ever give up on a Jewish person. Never.
Bro, he made me stress.
That you should always. By the way, sometimes this process takes a long time. You can't just be like, oh, okay, I see you're right. Okay, I'm gonna stop dating the girl that I think I love. It's very difficult. And then he's gonna deal with a break. It's very very difficult to deal with that. He has to come with it from his own decision, and it's a lot of information that you have to pull in, a lot of prayers that you have to pull in. I think I gave a ton of information over here that you could present to him, even slowly, even what's it called? Maybe I will upload it so you guys could review it, send it to him. So it's something that you don't want to give up because he's going to lose everything. He's going to really lose it all. If you really love him, you're gonna help him out, and you're gonna help him as much as you can, Bring him to classes. Bring him I can't stress how much prayer is important over here. And you should know, it's very. If you have a friend that's even thinking about dating, you have to. The earlier you stop it, the easier it is. He's not married to her, by the way, so you know you're still not too far off. I mean,
he hid it from us for like 6 months, something like that. He told us when he was like 4 months in.
What? But what?
Whatever, dating.
Dating?
He told me 4 months, 5 months in.
Told us right away. He said that they
To
were.
you?
Told him.
He told him right away. I found out 5 months in.
Well,
So-
I was
mad.
So basically, we were talking about like because they were friends with Nancy for like about since like freshman year from high school.
I'm not gonna- yeah.
But they never dated. That's the thing.
Ah.
And at the end, like I don't know what
They
happened
like
to them.
hung
or
out
whatever.
more.
That's also the problem. This is why I very, very, very much am opposing to public school. Forget about the fact about the dating, about the lack of information, the no secular amount of temptation that you have with all the girls over there. But one thing is that you're hanging out with a bunch of girls and whatever, or the guys or the girls they're hanging out with each other. Like, and they're, even if you think like, no, I'm only going to marry a Jew, but you're hanging out with a non-Jewish girl. Like, what do you think? You're hanging out with a non-Jewish attractive girl who really likes you, let's say. Why not, right? Because everybody has a high ego, and we all think everyone likes us. So he really, really likes you in your mind. You and she's like attractive, and she's like, you know, giving you hints. I'd be like, what do you think is gonna happen? Like, oh, well, like I can't believe I got sucked into it. I didn't know. Like, come on, let's be. You're hanging out with her. Of course, you're gonna start have feelings for her. Of course, this is why you have to cut off all connections that you have with non-Jewish girls, non-Jewish. This is not going to be helpful for you.
You know what killed me?
And I told him
Stay far away. Stay far away.
Wait a minute, didn't what's it called?
Why not?
She in a relationship beforehand?
It's going to affect you. It's going to affect you.
The guy also like.
Yeah, it's going to affect.
Non-Jew guy.
Yeah, it's going to end up affecting you. It's not going to be beneficial. That's for sure.
So like
You don't have to be like, oh, yeah, I'll get you in a second. You don't have to be like, hey, buddy, we're not hanging out anymore. The easiest way to break off friendships is very slowly. Would never say it. Be like, oh, I'm busy. I can't hang out tonight. Oh, I wish I could. I can't. Or whatever. I'm hanging out with another group of friends. I already have plans. And every time, never reach out to him. If he reaches out to you or she reaches out to you, always push it off. Be like, yeah, we got to do it. I'm sorry. I'm so busy with school and work. I can't. I don't hang out anymore. And that way, eventually, it just becomes easier. You just start veering apart with never officially like breaking it up. Yeah, it's just like, and that's the easiest way to do it. It works very simple. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was saying,
That's
so
extra.
like I remember in the beginning when they would start hanging out, and then he used to come up to me with like a thing saying that I think she likes me or something, and I'm like I think so too, bro. And then he's like I don't know, we'll see. So they start hanging out, and he's kind of more hanging out with girls as a friend, which I didn't really like with Kelly too in the beginning. I saw that Kelly likes him too.
Okay.
So afterwards they started hanging out with Nancy. And then I remember he came up to me one day. He's like, "Yo, we had it." I'm like, "We had? What do you mean?" And he's like, like we had it." I was like, "But you're not even dating her." He's like, "Well, we're kind of in this situation where like friends with benefits. It doesn't work out. It doesn't exist. I don't believe that kind of shit."
Right.
And he's like, "I'm sorry." And he's like, "No, it's legit." I'm like, "Alright, watch." Like 1 week later, he's like, "We're dating."
Yeah, of course. What do you think?
Come on, man. You see what's happening?
Which girl is going to say friends with benefits?
Yeah, it doesn't work like that.
It's a very big problem. First of all, you think about it for the physical world. He's getting everything that he wants out of this relationship, everything and more, because she'll give him everything that he wants. He'll like her. He's attracted to her. He has a good time with her. And then he has a small part of him, because he's not religious again, he doesn't have any knowledge on Judaism. He doesn't know about Judaism. He doesn't realize what he's getting himself into. This is a guarantee. People mess up a lot, and this is like a lot, not all of them, just because of a lack of understanding. That's how I feel. Like if people if you really knew the seriousness of Shabbat and kosher, of course you'll keep Shabbat and kosher. You think, okay, whatever, it's like, oh, whatever. But if you realize that like everything depends on this, then you'll be able to do it. Like I have people tell me, like I can't. I would never be able to do it. I'm like, oh yeah? If I give you $1,000, would you be able to keep Shabbat? I don't know, 10 grand. Would you be able to do it? Yeah, 10 grand, I'll be able to do it. I'm like, so you can do it. It's just not worth enough for you. You don't feel like it's worth 10 grand for you. That's why you don't do it. This guy, I guarantee you, if you ask him, he thinks, okay, he loves her. If I would give him 150 grand right now to break it off, is he going to break it off? Maybe yes, maybe no. What happens if I add another zero to it? 1.5 million.
150?
He'll dump her for money.
Wouldn't do it.
For $1 million?
I'll bet you right now, if we call him, he'll say no.
What about $10 million?
I don't know.
They see we're getting there. It depends on how much zeros you have to add to the beginning, which means is that he doesn't know the value of it.
He'll run for
There-
150,000.
there's-
He will.
He's his cousin.
Come on.
Bro, he tells me so many things, I
He lives
promise you he won't.
on Avenue P. I lived with him together.
Put it this way: there's
but
there's
we
always a
both
number.
see him together.
There's always a number. There's always a number. It's some people you have to add more zeros for the other person. The point is not to give them the number. The point is to realize that you can do it. You can break up with her. You just don't feel it's worth it. For 10 million, maybe it'll be worth it. For 100 million, it'll be worth it. If you add another zero to it, $1 billion, I mean, come on. People will break up with their parents for that. So, whatever, unfortunately. But there's always a price. There's always a price. Everybody has a price. Some people have a steeper price than other people. But what's the reason of the price? It just shows you what I mean. Put it this way. If someone tells me right now, I'll give you $1 billion if you fully convert to Christianity or fully convert to Islam, I'm not going to do it. There's no price that I would have for that. Like, I have something that's priceless, and that's the Torah. That's the Judaism.
I'm so happy being Jewish.
So there you go. Are you religious?
Not really.
So there you go. So then you don't even realize the power of it. But you're going to be soon. B'ezrat Hashem. Amen. So, hopefully. Yeah. Good. Good. No, that you said it right the first time. Jewish was right. Because Jewish is only one Jewish. It's a religion. Religious. So otherwise you can pretend to be Jewish. I mean, you are Jewish by heart, so you do have to follow Judaism. You can't, I have people that are like, you can't do this on Shabbat. It's like, don't worry, I'm not religious. I'm like, it doesn't matter. I'm like, I can't do it and you can't do it. The same issue we have, we can't do it. They think, like, okay, because I'm not religious, so it's okay, I could eat pork. Like, I'm not religious, it's okay. I don't follow this stuff, so it's okay for me. So, like, it doesn't matter. Like, we both have the same obligation. Just because you're an ignoramus and I just know a little bit more than you, just a dot more than you, because the Torah is infinite. I can't say that anymore. Just and I'm a little bit more religious than you, doesn't mean that we have different obligations and different responsibilities. No, you have the same responsibility and obligations as I do. You choose to just be, not to follow it. I choose to follow it.
I have a question. Quick question. On the fast...
I don't know if you know me. There's never a quick question. So we're here for like, I don't know how long we're here answering one question. Yeah.
On the fast, you're not allowed to use your cell phone, right?
No, depends what fast.
The Yom Kippur.
Yes.
You're allowed to?
No, not allowed to.
Okay.
Just like Shabbat.
Gorski girls,
They don't know.
Mad.
You send them to public school. What do you think they teach them there?
What is more important on Yom Kippur? To don't eat or eat and go, like, just like by value, and go to the shul and like pray and...
Better not to eat and stay home. Is that your question?
No,
But
like,
fasting is
you
very, very
just
important.
fasting, but you don't do anything spiritual.
As opposed to,
Like pray.
well, the whole point of Yom Kippur is doing tshuva.
Yeah.
Is to pray. The whole point is not even the prayer. The whole point is to feel regret and change yourself. That's really the whole point of it. You're asking a good question. I mean, like, fasting is very, very important. So much so that if you fast, you won't be able to go to the synagogue. It's better for you to fast and pray. I mean, obviously speak to your local Orthodox rabbi,
just,
but
like, by value.
but
like, what this fasting is... I'm sorry, you just had...
no. So
curious.
it's part. What's the point of fasting? The point of fasting is to, when we're supposed to, back when we had the temple, we would give a sacrifice. A sacrifice you would kill a goat, whatever it was that you brought in sacrifice. And by the way, you should know that the way Jewish people sacrifice and the way Jewish people, well, nowadays we don't do it, we slaughter. It's the most humane way possible, which means is the way that we do it is the way that it would hurt the animal the least. If you ever seen it, you know how they do non-Jewish, you know how they do it? Well, I've seen actually a video. Some of them, they electrocute them. So they fill up with water and they electrocute. Other people, what they do is they put this calf into this like little, or cow into this little thing. They choke it with its neck, and then there's a guy sitting with like this electrocution drill on top of it, goes right on the head, and shocks it. The way that the Jewish people do it is that they take, there's ways that the knife, for example, can be chipped, because if it's chipped, it's gonna. You ever see an ISIS video? What they do over there? You know how painful it is. That you like, like slow. But they do it very sharp. That it has to go very quickly. One slit. And the way the animals have the arteries and the veins where they feel the connects to the nervous system is all in the front. That's why you slaughter specifically over there. So once you slaughter, the animal feels nothing instantly. Nothing. So it's in the most humane way possible. Now, why do we slaughter? Well, we're slaughtering on the thing. We're on the korban, on the temple. What we're saying is like, that really should be me, that animal. But I am giving this, I'm sacrificing this goat, this whatever it is that you're sacrificing in my stead. So when you look at that, you're like, okay, that blood, that should have been me. So what you're doing is this is causing you to change. You'd be like, oh my God, that should have been me. And now like, what did I do? I sinned. That's why I'm bringing the sacrifice. I messed up. That's why I'm doing it. So when you're fasting, you're sort of like, giving yourself over like, I messed up. I sinned. I need to fix myself. And you go and you fix yourself based on that. The whole point of the sacrifice in itself is not for the sacrifice. It's for the repentance that you're going to do. The whole point of the fast is not for the fast. It's for the repentance that you're going to do. Repentance is the bottom line of it. But to say which one is better to do, it's like, like there's certain things that it's like someone comes and asks you, what's better, heroin or cocaine? Like, I'm going to do one. I mean, okay, well, that there is technically an answer, but it's like which way you're going to kill yourself first. Like it's like there's different things. I'll give you an easy example, a very simple example. Someone lives very far away from the synagogue. On Shabbat, he's not able to go to the synagogue unless he drives. The only thing spiritual that he does is he goes there. He says the whole day there. He says the entire day learning from the second he gets there to the second he leaves. But he drives on Shabbat. Or he's going to sit at home and sleep all day on Shabbat. He should stay at home and sleep all day rather than go and drive to the synagogue. Because that's worth it for him to sit at home and not violate the Sabbath than to go and violate the Sabbath and learn all day and keep Sabbath or whatever it is. It's not permitted.
Sleep. No, sleep.
Oh, sleep? Yeah, of course it's permitted.
Yes,
on Shabbat,
all Shabbat?
I tell people in the beginning, you can't keep Shabbat, it's very difficult for you. As long as you're not violating it, that's already a big plus. Eventually, as you guys have it awesome because you have the Gorski Shul. That's like, there's like a meal there, people hang out there, people learn there. It's like a chill out situation. So you guys have the best. And by the way, it's starting over here also. They're starting to do it on this side also. You have both. Whoever you're close to, you have to be able to go there. Yeah, so yeah, Beth, and you have you seat there, you could go hang out with. This is a general rule. If somebody wants to become religious, I guess anybody who's watching online, not part of this community, it's always easier to do it with somebody else. This way you have somebody else to help you out, and this way you can do it together. Because your family, it's very difficult to keep Shabbat when your families are watching TV while you're trying to keep Shabbat. The family are, are turning on, like walking around. It's very difficult. But if you have that's why, what do the guys do? They hang out in the shul all day, and they have a good time. So that's why it's much easier to do it with somebody else. So you give each other support, you're able to get through with it. And I guarantee you, this is also a guarantee because I asked this every single person, ask your cousin. Every single person. In the beginning, you think about it, I never keep Shabbat, it's very difficult to keep Shabbat. Just for the first few months. Eventually, you're already keeping it for how long?
No.
You broke it?
We kept it before.
We kept it?
Are you starting again? This new year, new you,
exactly.
and me.
I want to. No, I always wanted to. I never.
Is there anything else in the world? No, it's fine. It's fine.
Sorry.
No, it's good. It's fine. Well,
I did it.
now you have someone to do it with.
No.
Yeah,
like I did it with them. Those were my two.
And you guys all broke it up together.
No, I always wanted to. It's just we never. I don't know how to explain.
So let's do this. This will be worth it to me to coming tonight if you guys agree to this. Can you guys start trying from this to this coming Shabbat? This coming in? You could try it. Why not? What's difficult about it?
I'm pretty embarrassed to say this, but I have work.
Well, you work on Shabbat?
He works
That's the thing.
What do you
I have
work?
College a whole week.
What do you work in?
I work in what's it called?
Do you work in the mall?
Cell phone store.
A Jewish guy?
Metro PCS.
Oh, you work on Metro PCS.
For a Jewish guy. Israeli.
Okay, so let me first tell you guys. That's why I can see why it's harder. You guys, first of all, let's start with you guys. You guys are okay?
Yeah.
Yeah? Right?
I work also.
You both, so both. We're dealing with both to
cell
work.
phones.
Okay, college.
College on Saturday?
No, but just there's so many homework that if I will not do it.
So study without writing. Just read. Just read on Shabbat. Don't write on Shabbat.
Wait, you're not allowed to write?
Yeah, but there's not really.
There's like a paper you
What?
gotta do.
There's like most
Okay,
of what I'm doing.
then your guys all in the same boat. At least we got two. Two so far. Now we'll deal with the remainder. So people work on Shabbat. If you work on Shabbat, you have to know something about the money that you're making. It's not going to be blessed money.
Blood money.
It's you think of it as blood money. It's not going to be blessed money, which means is the money that you're getting is not going to be money that's going to be beneficial for you. What does it mean by blessed money? And I'll ask you. I've never spoke to you before. I never spoke to you. You guys are working. Are you able to save the money?
Sometimes.
Not what sometimes. Overall, so basically, are you having a savings from it, from the money that you're working on Shabbat? Like, do you see, or, and again, I may be wrong on this. I'm going out on a limb. Like sometimes you make X amount of money. You're like, where did all my money go? Like I don't understand it. I made so much money, and then at the end of the week, end of the month, I'm like, where did it all go? So I see you're nodding your head. there is money that's blessed and there's money that's cursed. The money that's blessed is money, and again, this could be if you steal. If you steal money, if you have a shady business, not blessed money. It's very important you want to have money that's blessed. You want to have money what's blessed money? Money that will be able to make you more money. And it doesn't mean you have people that work on Shabbat that are very wealthy. But look at their lives, and they have problems over here, and then they got to run to this medical thing. And then, so they made $1,000, let's say, on Shabbat. Let's say they made a nice amount of money, they made $1,000. 3 months down the line, 4 months down the line, all of a sudden they got to run to the hospital, and they have a deductible on this. What's the bill? $1,000. And they won't put the two and two together. But the money that comes in is just going to go out. The question is, how is it going to go out? It's never going to be like, okay, I'll have a good time. It's always something like whatever, you get gypped off on something, and you lose a little bit here, and a little bit here, and this is not going to be blessed, or you're going to buy something that's going to cause you a problem, and it's just things that are not going to go well for you. We said before early, Shabbat, we pray on Friday night, Kabbalat Shabbat, Shabbat ki hi mikor habracha, it is the source of blessing. The Shabbat, you keeping Shabbat, that is a source of your blessing. Now, if you go and you start, saying, I don't need that, I'm going to go deal with this, then God's going to be like, okay, let's see where it deals with you. You're going against God, you're not going to get out of it. And if I were to tell you, let's say, okay, you're working on Shabbat, but because of that, you're not going to make any money. Let's say you're supposed to make, $1,000 a month that you're making on Shabbat. When you get married, instead of it's going to be deducted $10,000 from your annual salary. Would you do it? Of course not, because it doesn't make any sense. Like, you'll end up losing the money. So it's not helpful for you at all. It's not going to give you any blessing. You're not going to get any enjoyment from it. Temporarily, maybe. In the long run, you're going to have to pay for it. Who wants to pay for it? Shabbat is one of the things that if you violate it, even if you do repentance on it, you still have to go through suffering. It's karet. There's 36 sins that if you violate, then you go. I'll tell you what is the other categories, like incest, relationship with siblings. That's what you're dealing with, the same category of Shabbat. This is why you have a lot of rabbis scream Shabbat a lot, because it's really important. It's really important. It's not important only for the next world. It's important for this world. It's going to give you a source of blessing. You're going to see a lot of blessing. In the beginning, you're not going to have money because you're not going to be working on that day. So you'll see it. But overall, it's going to work out much better for you. It's going to work out much better for you. I'm giving you good business advice now. Forget about spirituality. I'm giving you good business advice. You're in a bad business. You might be in a good business, but there's a right place and a right time for things. People that opened up a cell phone business 10 years ago, 15 years ago, made a killing. People now, all right, some yes, some not. The places are opening and closing all the time. So there's always a time and a place for it. And there's also a time and place for when you're doing it. You're doing it. We all realize we need God's help for business, right? We're all on the same page. Can anybody here think they could become a millionaire without God intervening? We can't. So right now you're basically saying, God, I don't need you. I'm stabbing you in the back. I know you told me this is important, but I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it because I don't, whatever reason that you think it is, then what do you think how's that going to come and affect you? It's going to come not well to you. And even if you do make it big, that's not going to be blessed money. I know a lot of people, unfortunately, they don't keep Shabbat, and they have large businesses. Ask them how happy they are. At the source of everything. This is one of the things that we spoke on Friday night. You do everything because this is unfortunate and fortunate. Everything that you do in your life, you do because of happiness. Happiness is your ultimate thing. Why do you want a lot of money? Because you can buy things. Why do you want to buy things? Because you think that's going to make you happier. Why do you want to get married? Because you like her. Why? Because you think she's going to make you happy. This is why people always say in love, I fell out of love. What do you fell out of love? Which means is she wasn't giving you what you felt that you wanted anymore. This is a very selfish and a bad thing to do. But when you're going into something, generally we go into something that's going to bring us happiness. Why do you go to college? Because you want to get a degree? No. Because you want to work. Why do you want to work? So you want to make money. Why do you want to make money? Because you want to buy stuff. Why do you want to buy stuff? Because it's going to make you happy. Everything at the end of the day, why do you want to have kids? Because you want to pay tuition? No. You want to because you want to you want to buy them clothes? No, that's not why you want it. Because you feel eventually as you get old, it's going to lead you to your happiness. One thing that you should know, things that human beings tend to do is because it's going to lead them to happiness. Now I'm telling you right now, this thing is not going to lead you to happiness. It's going to give you a lot of problems on it later in life. And I wish no problems on anybody. No, everybody should have just an amazing, successful everything. But you should know what the Torah says. And the Torah says you're not going to come out unscathed, untouched with this. This is something that's very, very serious. Working on Shabbat is even worse than just even violating Shabbat, because it's just not blessed money. You're going to have, not only is it not blessed, you're going to have to get punished for that money. It's like not only you're losing the money, but it's going to come out of your expense. Yeah, it's like, okay, you made $1,000, now you're going to end up paying $10,000. It might not be in cash. It might be in health. It might be in relationship. It might be in children. It might be in whatever it is, investments. It might be hardships, emotional, psychological. There's so many other. Unfortunately, there's so many ways that God could take payment back. which is good for. It's actually fortunate because God made it that way, and everything God made is fortunate. But you have to realize that you're not going to gain from this. Better work, take less shifts, work on Sunday. I guarantee you, it will bring you greater success in life. It's a guarantee. School, you want to be successful in school. Don't you want to? You don't think you need God? Come on. What before every big test? What do you hear everybody tell everybody? Good luck. Thank you. Good luck. Yeah, everyone's wishing good luck. All of a sudden, we're all like in patriots. We're like, I wish everybody good luck, and to all a good night. You know, and like, are you kissing? You kiss your thing. So like,
good?
It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything. It doesn't. You know, say Tehillim. It's going to do you a lot better. You need God's help for tests. I mean, sometimes you think about it, be like, sometimes you're like pure guessing. What are you going for in college? If you don't mind me asking.
What?
Do you want to go for?
Oh, architect.
Architect.
Yeah.
You need a lot of God's help, especially after you get the job, because you know that's you're talking about 5-6 years in schooling, and it's not easy. So you do a lot of math. You have a lot of what's it called, right? No.
Yeah, like architecture.
Right. So like you're gonna need a lot of God's help. You think you're gonna gain by not listening to God? You need to study. Read the book. I'm not saying this is what somebody should do. I'm talking about beginners and that. I'm not saying that. I'm not paskening halacha and things like that. For you, between me and you right now. Right? If you need to go and let's say, so study, just don't write. Don't use the computer. Just read. You have to read.
Yeah,
So read. You have to anyways memorize stuff for the tests. That's the thing that you do. From the second that I get Friday night to Saturday night, that's what you do. After Saturday night, you did all your preparation, then you can type up.
A lot of stuff.
Guarantee you'll see.
On the laptop, so like.
Yeah, but you have books. You have to still buy textbooks. You don't. You can print it out.
It's online.
Like in my program, for example, there's like really rarely reading. The most part is like you're constructing something, you're drawing something, you're writing something.
Online, like
Online.
No,
And a lot of things are going on.
You don't have to read anything. You don't have to.
Really,
Like
my share maybe.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure. First of all, any teacher that you're doing online courses.
Online courses.
No, you speak to teachers. They'll, you know, and if let's say that you have the Sabbath, they legally will give you. They will. They'll be like, "This is my holiday. I can't." They have to abide by your thing. They can't be like, "Well, no, I'm not going to give you any chances."
Wholehearted Christian. Like,
Doesn't matter. They're gonna give you. I've never ever had that issue when I ever told somebody, but like, you know, you can't do it, and they go and be like, they said, "Listen, if I don't do it, I'm gonna fail." Never. And if you do that, you'll probably end up making a lot of money. So it's good. From the yeah. So I'll put it this way: you're not gonna lose out from it. And it's not my guarantee. It's God. If you listen to God, you're not gonna lose out.
I was gonna say something.
Yeah. You know what? I have to. This is no joke. I'm going to get to that. I didn't even know I had this in front of me. There is. I'll source it. I'll source where I'm telling something. I'll tell you where it is. There is a pasuk. You go to in Bamidbar. So it's Numbers chapter 14, verse 41. They once asked a rabbi. I said this before, maybe a year and a half ago. They once asked a rabbi, "What is the most powerful verse in the Torah?" I'd be like, "Well, like every verse. Like, what's the most powerful?" He said, "Numbers." Chapter 14, verse 41. And I'll read it to you in English. Moses said, "Why do you transgress the word of the Lord? It will not succeed." Most powerful verse. Says Rashi, which is the commentary on this, what does it mean it will not succeed? What you are doing will not succeed. Which means it's straight out. If you transgress the word of God, you will not succeed. In the Torah, Numbers 14:41. Go look it up. Take that. That's the source for it. If you go and you don't listen to God, you will not succeed in what you do. You know, you might have temporary success, guaranteed, that you could have. Yeah. Overall, you will not succeed. You will not have the success. The main thing, again, we're looking for is happiness. You know, that's what you're going to architecture because that's what you want to get. Because you think you'll enjoy that. You'll be happy doing that. But what happens if who knows what could happen? You could start hating it. You could have a bad boss. God, there's a bunch of curveballs that could come your way, unfortunately. You don't want that. You know how difficult it is to get an architecture job? Yeah. Very difficult to get that. And even if you get that, you don't start off making a lot of money. You don't. You want?
Yeah.
So I'm familiar. So you're going to be working a ton of hours, going through a ton of school, possibly not making a lot of money. So don't you think you need God's help over here? Like you need. If you tell me you're going for something else, okay, maybe I say you don't need as if you don't need God's help. But architecture, you really need God's help with that. Because I have friends that are architects. It's like, oh man, there's some whatever. I don't even want to get to what they have to do in order to make some money. So, but I'm saying you need God's help. You're not going to lose out from it. You have Sunday. Put it this way: anybody that I have friends that have been in medical school, law school. I'm not talking about regular run-of-the-mill. I'm talking about Ivy League places, keeping the Sabbath, keeping that, and they did just fine at they were able to do it. You don't need the Sabbath, the Saturday to do it. It might be easier for you, but it's definitely 100% doable without it. You might have to work a little bit later, but it's doable. For sure it's doable. And for you guys also, you don't need the money. You don't have expenses now. You don't have bills. You don't need the money right now. So what do you think? If you're going to do this for God, you think God's going to be like, well, you know what? He did this so much. It was so difficult for him. There's an idea. It says in Pirkei Avot, lefum tzara agra. The harder something is for you, the greater the reward. So for example, for me keeping Shabbat, and let's say Jason keeping Shabbat, and whoever else is going to be keeping Shabbat, we're different. I was born and raised this way. It's easier for me. You guys are going to be getting a much higher level of reward. And you guys are going to get even greater of what you give up. Just think about it. Everything is value, dollar for dollar. Think about it. You know, I guarantee you, you're not going to, lose out from it. And and if you feel, well, my boss is not going to, worry about one boss, and that's the boss upstairs. If you do what he's going to take care of you. Don't think that you're going to listen to him and he's going to be like, you get fired from your job or whatever it is. And guarantee you, most likely you won't get fired from your job. Especially if you're working in a Jewish place, be like, listen, I'm trying to keep Shabbat. Do you mind I pick up a different shift? He's not going to be like, well, you're going to be fired if not.
That's the thing. He got me only because I was supposed to work on Saturdays.
So tell him. And if not, I'll call him if you want. I really have no problem.
You keep Shabbat?
He keeps Shabbos. Yeah, the boss.
He keeps
the boss.
So then, if you'll have a very good time with him. Say, listen, I really need the money. I really know that you did this to me for Saturday.
Yeah, but I really need money. That's the thing. That's
He's just no. He's that Italian mentality. You understand? They're not gonna care.
If he's what they
mentality there.
ask him. See if it's gonna come. Say if you speak to him, don't be like, hey, bro. I'm keeping Sabbath now, so I can't come in Saturday. I'll pick up a different one.
That's the thing. I could work on Wednesday and Sunday.
So?
Sunday and Wednesday, perfectly I could work 2 days, right? I need 2 days a week.
Right, so then there it goes for you.
So I work on Friday and Saturday, but instead of Friday and Saturday, I could work on Wednesday and Sunday.
Do that.
I could tell him to do that, but I don't know if he's going to take me.
If you tell him as a heart to heart, like a man to man, like don't be like, hey, listen, if you really, take him on the side. He's a Jew, he's a human being. He's gonna like, no, I need you to work on Sabbath. You tell him, like, listen, I really want to start keeping the Sabbath. I want to become a little bit more religious. I'm starting to come to the classes. Give him the whole rundown. I really want to work myself. I know that you took me on for this. I understand this is, but I'm asking you as a favor, please. Can I switch around so I don't work on Saturday because I really want to keep the Sabbath. I really want to keep Shabbat. He's not going to be, he's not a Nazi. He's not going to be like, well, I told you, only Saturday. He's not going to be like, I mean, come on. He's going to, you guys work in the same store?
No. Right next to each other. Right next to each other.
You're able to, you think you'll be able to, so you guys will be able to do it. I guarantee you. You guys will do it, it's much easier. You guys do it as a group. You guys will do it as a group. It's going to do it.
I have a question.
Of the year we did it when my grandpa passed away.
That's always what happens, by the way.
Yeah.
Don't wait for that. That always what happens. You can join us. That always what happens. Don't wait for God to send you reminders. I don't want to have to tell you what's going on in the Gorski community and how many months I get unfortunately not invited. Another funeral comes my way. Like this kid, this death from this, and kids. Young guys are dying like flies. You guys should be aware of this. It's your community. You don't want God to be like, what do you think that happens? Okay, granted, it's a person, place, and time for everything. And it was his time. I don't want to get into that. But because you get affected by it, there's a reason. We have to wake up. God's sending signs. The end of the world is coming. Let's not fool around, right? We got North Korea playing, Game Boy with the nuclear whistles, and Trump is whistling his things. We're in a hot pocket mess right now. Mashiach is on the way, that's for sure. And it's coming over here. How much signs do you need from God to send you? Be like, okay, God, I get it. You don't want God to send you signs. God be like, I don't need signs. I get the point. I'm doing it. And you're going to get so much blessing in your life. Just ask anybody. Ask anybody that's been doing it. I ask them every single time in front of everybody. I don't take them to the side to like preempt them and be like, hey buddy, can you just say, that's good. I never say that. And I always ask in front. And I said, in front of the Friday night classes, I always have people come over. I had a long debate. You guys weren't there like 2 weeks. Last 2 weeks ago, it was a Friday night class. I was supposed to leave at 11 o'clock. It was supposed to go until 11 o'clock because I had another place I needed to go to at 11 o'clock. I had maybe 7 or 8 Gorski guys walk in from Avenue C at 11:05. The place is cleaned up. Some people left. They walk in 11:05. I told them, listen, guys, I can't stay. I'm sorry. I would love to. I know you guys worked really far, but I have another commitment that I have to go. And they're like, no, we totally understand. We can't. We walk. We didn't realize. Okay, fine, no problem. They're hanging around there as we're cleaning up, and then one guy comes over to me. He's like, listen, there's a guy over here that, he doesn't believe in God, and, he's willing. We came here, and he's willing to talk to you about it. I'm like, everybody back to the table. I'm like, well, of course I'm gonna, this is why I'm gonna go. Is there anything more important than that? Get somebody to believe in God. I could prove it to him. It's not so difficult. So from 11 to about 1 a.m., we sat there and we proved to him, one after another. This is a class also that I want to do. I never got to do it online. I could prove that there's a God. I could prove to you that the Torah is legit. I could prove to you all these things with proofs, logically, scientifically, everything is provable. And this is what we did one after another. And we were having a debate back and forth. At the end of the thing, he came in not believing in God. Baruch Hashem, he told me. He said he left. He's going to already start keeping a few Shabbatot. He says, for a few weeks, can you give me a few weeks? So he says, for a few weeks, I'll give you. For 2 hours that we were sitting with him, and not because it all is from God, all 100%. Please, I can't. And what is the point that I'm saying this? There was a group of 3-4 guys that were walking with him that started keeping Shabbat. And I went, and he was sitting. I remember he was sitting in your spot, but in my house. So whatever, you're that. And I went, and there was another guy sitting over here that was keeping Shabbat. And I said, I didn't speak to him beforehand, and I was just going to ask, do you enjoy it? Has your life been significantly improved or not? And I told him, I answer honestly. I don't want to influence it. If it's wrong, it's wrong. Answer honestly. And he says, no. He says, not only do I feel better as a person, he says, but I enjoy it now. He says, in the beginning it was hard. Yeah, it is hard because you're not used to it. In the beginning it's difficult.
In the summertime.
Yeah, it's difficult, of course.
Like it finishes at 9,
yeah.
10 o'clock.
It's difficult. I'm not saying it's not difficult. I understand that. But I tell him, I'm like, does you get enjoy it? You have done it for a while, so you know. And he says, I enjoy it, it's fun, it's great. And I'm like, come on, do I need to even prove that? It's not like I'm causing you to fast.
You escape everything.
Yeah. You eat a good meal, you come Friday night to my house, you drink, you enjoy, you eat some stuff, you have a good time. You have a good time. Right?
You can read though, right?
You could read, yeah, you could.
Whatever,
yeah. It's like,
novel.
yeah,
Could you play
for now, yeah. What?
Could you play guitar?
It's better not to. Well, you could do it, sleep, read, enjoy, you eat, you have a good time, you hang out. Again, what's better? It's better to sit and learn Torah, but we're not there yet. But we'll get there. You take steps. The first thing is stop violating it. That's the number one.
No phone, right?
No phone, just put it. It's like creating a fire. There's many reasons for it, but the basic one is creating a fire. I had a conversation with a doctor on this once. 2 hours, this guy was making me sweat. A very intelligent guy. And no matter what proof I'm giving him, he's like, no. So I took out physics. Anything with, he's like, it's on fire. I'm like, okay. The way it works with physics is that anything that's produced, any work that's done, creates energy. Yeah. Energy releases off heat, right? Even if you take LED lights or thing, it produces some sort of heat. Your phone, does it get hot? You're like, yeah, it does get hot. Even if it's on a minuscule level, it still gets hot. Even with all the technology now, just a little bit it gets hot. You're turning on. So even just that itself, you're creating heat. Heat is fire. You're already creating one of the. It's a violation of the thing. So besides that, you'll be thankful that you're able to disconnect from your phone.
Well, why should you create fire though?
One of the 39. So why do we have obligations on Sabbath? We have 39 obligations on the Sabbath that we cannot do, right? So one of the things.
Why can't you carry?
Right. So let's do one by one. So first of all, carrying you can if there's an eruv. If there's a I don't know how to explain it. There's a way that you can carry inside a certain area. There's a way to do it that you can carry.
Like a water bottle, like I'm saying.
Yeah, like for example, let's say you go to Israel. Israel, in many communities, you can carry anywhere, because there's certain things that you could do to make you that you're able to carry. In Brooklyn, there is this eruv. Most people don't hold of it. They don't agree with it. They say, no, it's not, but some people do hold of it. But let's start with fire. Why can you create a fire? So why can't we do anything? What's the point of Shabbat? Why do we got to keep Shabbat? Why do we need to rest? Sunday. Why can't I? Why is it? And I'll give you an example like this. Turning on a light switch, violation of Shabbat. We're all in agreement with that? That makes sense, right? Driving a car, violation of Shabbat. What about if I take a table, 5 tables, weighing like 20 pounds each. So you're taking 100 pounds. And I'm moving it in my house upstairs and downstairs. I'm sweating bullets. And I am working so hard. Did I violate Shabbat?
Yes. Yeah. No.
No violation of Shabbat. I'm making your question stronger. That's on, yeah. No, it's not complicated. I'll explain to you. It's very simple.
I helped
So,
Sharon's father with the bags once.
Yeah, remember?
And he told me, you're not allowed to carry. But I looked at him.
outside you're not allowed to carry.
No. It was inside the building. But I explained to him like this.
We were Shabbat. My dad came in front of my house, right there next to the building.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Can you bring this bags over to the house?" And I started thinking, am I not supposed to carry or am I supposed to carry?
This is why, by the way.
I
Right.
can't say no to my dad.
You're
So it's like,
No,
So-
but in my sense, it's like I'm showing.
By the way,
sense of
before you
respect.
get to that, I just want to address that. If your parent tells you to violate the Torah, this you weren't sure and it wasn't whatever, but if your parent, if your parent tells you, I want you to go to McDonald's and eat, you're not allowed to listen to your God, to your father. You have to listen to God. You can't, you cannot violate. Your father doesn't come before God.
So you say no.
So you say yeah. You say no. Sorry, respectfully, obviously.
Can you go back on
Like no, son. Huh?
the carrying thing?
Yeah, let me start with the fire, and then you'll understand where everything, and then everything will fall into place. You'll understand everything. So why can't we do these things? Like, why does God care? Like, what is the point of Shabbat even? Like, why do we got to keep Shabbat? So let us rest Friday night. Why do we got to do a whole day? So the reason is because God created the world in 6 days.
6 days.
Rested the 7th day. We work for 6 days and we rest the 7th day. Now, why do we do that? Why are we why are we copying God? What is this copycat thing that we're doing over here? And the reason is that what we're doing really is by you keeping Shabbat, and why Shabbat is so important is by you keeping Shabbat, you are testifying with your actions that there is a God. Because just like God did it for 6 days and he sat and he rested on the 7th day, it's nice to say I believe in God. But it's always like, show me in action. Show me what, put it on, I want to see it in action. You know what's action? By you keeping Shabbat, you're testifying that there is a God and God has created the world and he's continuously running over it. Now, what specifically do we have? It's very interesting because the way, there's 39 things that we do for Shabbat. And those are the 39 ways that there's 39 things that we built the Mishkan, the temple, the tabernacle. There was like, you can't write, because that's what they did to build the Mishkan. You can't build, because that's what they did to build the Mishkan. You can't take apart, because that's what they did on the Mishkan. You can't create a fire, because that's what we did in the Mishkan. Why are we emulating everything that the Mishkan was? Because the Mishkan, again, represents everything is from God. You're presenting a house of God. This whole idea of what we do, it's not just some like random things, like some old guy with a beard be like, okay, there's gonna be no fires, no carrying, I don't like carrying stuff, no carrying for everybody, no building, no erasing, no writing, no the weaving, no plowing, no cleaning, depends. You're not allowed to throw in the wash, you're not allowed to go, you gotta stay, you should not clean it. No, you should stay away from cleaning. Yeah. Rest, it's really rest. Your mom tells you, hey listen, I want you to clean. Be like, I'm sorry, I'll do it, no problem, after Saturday night. Be like, come on, like you get out of it. It's a get out of jail free card. And be like, and they'll respect it. By the way, if you tell me that your parents won't respect it, it depends how you tell it. Your parents will, almost every parent will respect it because they're Jewish. I mean, come on, they'll be like, okay, they don't hate God. At least most people don't. So they're not gonna be like, yeah, come on, don't be religious. They might not be so for it, but if you show, first of all, they see that you're going to be a better person. All of a sudden, you're a better son. You listen. You're more kind because you have to be. That's a law. You gotta have to respect your parents. They'll be like, well, this is not so bad as I thought it was. And if you think about it, religion in itself, you think about it, be like, oh my God, there's like so many things I can't do. Be like, relax. There are things that you can't do, but overall, your life is not going to change that much. Saturday, what do you waste your time with anyways? Okay, so you guys work, whatever it is, but like, yeah, it's not, so you keep on sleeping. Yeah, so don't use the phone. So now let's say you want air conditioning. There's no problem, just leave it on all night. Or put on a timer. The lights, turn it on, keep it on, off, whatever it is. There's always, your life is not going to change that significantly. That's going to be more difficult. Kosher, come on, you guys live in New York. Kosher, it's enjoyable. You don't want to eat Chipotle. You don't want to, you're going to be, it comes in one and it goes out the other way very, very quickly from what I hear. So like, McDonald's, you definitely don't want to touch that stuff. No one even has a temptation for that. Schnitzy, yeah. Oh, that's your word. So yeah, the food there is cleaner. Even you go to the dirtiest restaurant. You go to the dirtiest Jewish restaurant, it's cleaner than the nicest because the meat is cut better. Everything is done in a much cleaner way. You're eating. There are some non-Jews that eat kosher because it's healthier. It's like organic. It's like, like organic phase. It's like a kosher phase. Like, people tell me, I only buy kosher meat. I'm like, you don't need to. Like, no. I can taste the difference.
Yeah.
I don't, it's healthier.
Especially the chicken.
Yeah. You do pay a few dollars extra. You do pay a few dollars extra, but it's a few dollars.
But
No, it's not. I've seen prices. I've price checked it. You buy let's say chicken cutlets, like it's a few dollars extra. Overall, maybe at the end of the year, you eat a lot of it. It might add up, but you're talking about a few dollars every time. So here is a good. You go to Schnitzel, you go to any place, so you buy a burger. Let's say it's like $10, whatever it is, $8 a burger. So you go to a non. I'm not talking about McDonald's. I'm talking about like a normal place. I don't know, 5 burgers, 5 guys, whatever it is. You pay $4 or $5, so you pay $3 extra for some, for spiritual, endless reward, and like, and it's cleaner, it's healthier. You get a mitzvah, you make a blessing on it. It's a win-win situation. And you're not going to lose out because you have to pay a little extra for it. Be like, God will like, okay, fine, listen, I got to deduct from your salary over here because you're paying for. Come on, God's going to take care of you. Don't worry
I
about
have a question at the end. I don't want to, because like this is all interesting. I'm just going to ask.
Oh, okay, fine. So, but the idea is this thing should answer all your questions on Shabbat. We do it. So the same idea. This is what happened in the time where we got all the 39 things, and this is why we do it, because we're emulating what happened. Why are we emulating? Because we're testifying with our bodies that God created the world, and we're showing it that we believe in it, because this is what we're doing. This is the foundations. This is why we do everything on Shabbat. Is that this is the point of it. If you ever realize, you go to a kosher store, what does it say on the store? It doesn't say I'm a Jew. It doesn't say I keep Yom Kippur. It says Shomer Shabbat. Yeah. That's all it says. You know how you know if it's a religious Jew?
And we have like a sticker.
Yeah, Shomer Shabbat. Shomer Shabbat. Why? Because that defines if it defines if you're religious or not. You keep Shabbat or not. That's your defining thing. Everything else is very important. Kosher is very important. Everything else is important. Shabbat. But this is the thing that at least I personally push. Number one, Shabbat. You can't get Shabbat is so important. We got to wrap it up.
Yeah.
Okay.
I have 2 questions.
Let's do the 2 questions and then.
Okay. So my first question is, I live in an apartment, right?
Yeah.
So whenever I fast or when I do Shabbat or whatever, I have 2 keys, like 2 individual keys. One here, one here. They're like keys. They're not heavy. No. I'm saying in this sense, 1 key is to open the front door, the downstairs. And 1 key is to mailbox to take the other keys to open it so I don't wake up my mother or my sister or my dad.
Okay.
Is that considered
carrying? I'll tell you what. It's a very easy trick, and this is anybody that lives in a apartment building. This is what you can do. First of all, what you could do is it's $1. It costs $1 to make a copy of a key. When I'm talking about, make a copy of the front door key, and what you do is you hide it somewhere in that front area.
I have nowhere.
You'll find a place. Trust me.
No, the carpet I tried, it sticks out like crazy.
Doesn't matter.
I put it in the radiator at one point. My father found it.
Doesn't matter. All you're keeping is the front door.
Yeah.
Not your house keys.
What about the house?
I'm going to deal with that.
Okay.
So you make a few copies of that. It costs $1. You go to any Chinese hardware store. I don't know why I say Chinese. It's my hardware store is Chinese. Any hardware store. Any place that you make a copy of a key. Hide it somewhere. And I've seen somebody, what they did was, so there's a place that you buzz somebody in, that, I don't know, intercom thingy. So usually it sticks out a little bit, and it's usually made out of metal. I saw a guy do something genius. He took a key, and he cut out a small tiny magnet, double-sided magnet, and glued it on the key, or even a one-sided magnet. And what he does is that he puts it on the bottom of the buzz, or even on the side on the top. Nobody can even see it. So he goes over there, as he walks in, he just quickly goes in and goes in, like that. So
There's a magnet. Or you know how they have the metal thing to buzz in? You put it underneath, and that's it. You can take it.
And no one sees it. Because the key is like this thin. So you don't sees it. And if somebody sees it and takes it, it's $1. You make a few of them. You have it in the house. And so what do you do for the front door? For your own house door, what I would recommend is investing in something. And if you can't, I will gladly sponsor it. It's like a lock. What you do is you put it on a doorknob, and it's a combination.
Shabbat lock.
It's not a Shabbat lock. No, it's not a Shabbat lock. It's not a Shabbat lock. So you are easy. What it is it goes. Every door, especially buildings, have the same doorknob, a round door. What it works. So the round door, you have a knob like this, and then a small pole that comes out to hold it, right? The doorknob, right? So what it does is there's a very secure lock that goes. It's like it looks like this, let's say, but thicker, and then it has a very strong cable like this. So what you do is that you have a combination, and that opens this part. So the whole box comes off.
Can't do that.
Why not?
Because my door is Russian.
What does that mean?
It's push. You have to. It's like a. This is the key. This is how big my key is.
Okay, so you get a
It's my
bigger one.
door,
Yeah.
And I push it in.
What does it mean you push it in?
Like pretend this.
There's
is my
no doorknob? You don't have a doorknob?
No.
Can you send me a picture?
I have the key right now.
No, I need to see the actual. There's always the ways to do it. There's always ways to. That is a key?
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. I can't.
I've never seen this.
This is from Russia. From Azerbaijan.
So how do you open the door?
Listen, let me show you.
Crazy doors.
So, I have this key, right? This key, right?
Yeah.
But this key is to open the door in general, because it's like this. There's a latch, and
Can you send me a picture?
I'll send you.
Send me a picture, and then I'll see if I'll be able to.
My second.
But then we'll figure something else out because we'll wrap it up, right? Is that what you're saying? Yeah. And the second question, there's always ways around it. You could also even hook it up if you're near the stairs. You could even hook it up to a stair. Just tell the super, like, I'm just locking my key over here. He's not going to mind. Like, he doesn't care. Anyways, the second, we get around it guaranteed. Second question. Let's go and wrap it up.
I had it just now.
No problem.
What were you talking about?
Me?
What were you talking
carrying.
about before that?
No. Before Shabbat?
No cell phone?
No.
Keeping Shabbat. Hold on, before we even go further, well, it's a good that you think about it. Are you guys going to try? Shabbat?
Yeah.
We got Shabbat.
Friday?
You should know, I am so happy that you called me out because it was worth it just for this. Even if this doesn't go online, even if nobody gets to see it, even if this guy unfortunately marries a non-Jew or whatever, God forbid, and we hope and pray not to. At least we can make a merit for him. You guys are doing this. You could even say that, merit for him.
Let him call him.
You can merit for him. That you guys are be able to get. We got 6 people. Bezat Hashem, Blina is going to start keeping Shabbat.
Can he call you?
What? Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah, we'll give you a number.
Yeah. So, Baruch Hashem, I'm very happy. This made my night. I was looking for more merits. That was very important. And by the way, it's not only me. Now you guys all getting merits because now's the day of the seal. You know, new year, new me, new you. Now you're telling God, listen, from now I'm going to try. I'm going to try, we're going to do it. You do it as a group, you guys guarantee to do it. You got Jason Lee, you know, you guys did it already before. You'll be able to do it, no problem. Go here, come to my house Friday night. You guys will be completely fine.
When it comes to me, I'll text you.
What?
When it comes to
me, I've had people that, you don't understand how, when I started, even before the Gorski people came, I used to go till 3 in the morning. Now I stop. Now I have people walk in and walk out throughout the night, but we usually end about 11:30 or 11 o'clock. Some people already start leaving so that you could get home on time. Yeah, every once in a while we go a little bit later, but generally we go early so people could get home on time. No questions? Wrapping it up. Don't forget to pray for that guy. And B'ezrat Hashem in the merit, at least of this class, and all you guys keeping Shabbat. And B'ezrat Hashem, you guys should know, you guys are keeping Shabbat. You guys you're gonna stick to it for at least a short while. You're gonna see people are gonna join your group. Yeah. You're gonna B'ezrat Hashem have success with Parnasah. You're gonna have success with your school. Try it. Trust me, you'll be doing it. You'll have to just put in a little extra time on that. And we're gonna speak about you going to yeshiva. But B'ezrat Hashem, may we all have a year. This is the final set. May we all have a year of complete success. May we all have just tremendous happiness this year, tremendous spiritual growth, going in the right way, only happiness with our families, with our friends, with our B'ezrat Hashem when you find your right one, and only success, b'chava atzlacha, to everybody. Chazak Baruch, and thank you, Jason, and thank you for calling me for this last impromptu quick shiur that we made. All right.